welcome to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode 210. 210.
Just
Local
boom,
210.
boom, boom, boom. It's funny how they come one after another.
Yeah, it
I don't even know
is.
what
It's
that
funny.
means.
We're flying, man. We're flying. Pretty soon, we're catching up to 22 shots, I think. That's all
Yeah.
I know. That's gonna
Well,
be
they've been on
something
hiatus for like 6 months. No,
something like this. It's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a minute. Let's try to fix that mic, although I'm sure everything sounds just fine.
who's a hot rod?
Huh, just me. Yeah, 210. Every time I think of 210, I think of local 210, which was the union that my father was in. And and believe me, it was never short of controversy. The local 210 carpenters union.
Isn't that
actually
like every union? It's
My
never
dad was
without
I know.
controversy.
My dad was a union delegate too, and there's a funny story because one time he was running for something, and he was in on one side, and there was opposition on the other. Something was going on. There was some controversy at the time with the union, and he went to the Aud, which was the Buffalo Memorial Auditorium, once upon a time, which it's where the Sabres used to play. Now it's Key Bank Arena, whatever the hell it is, but. My father had to actually give a speech at the Aud. He went up there and they booed him in the fucking place. And I find that the funniest thing that they fucking booed him. Yeah, he was telling us the story.
Rocky IV sucks. He fights a robot. Boo! Get off the stage.
He fights a robot.
Like,
isn't that great?
Who can boo your dad? He fights a robot.
Well, that's what's great about him. In his mind, it's still that way. It's not even corrected. Even though I told him I corrected him once, if he thinks about it again and recalls it, he fought a robot. This always happens to him. He makes up these things in his mind as if they're historical fact, and it didn't happen, but that's just the way he remembers.
I've done that.
It's great.
Sometimes I've done that, and then I'll relay information on the is that actually for real or just how I recollect? And a lot of times, not a lot of times, I'll say sometimes it's just my recollection of it in that moment. I've gone back. There are certain things like the actor, like stupid things, but like the actor who played the principal in Friday the 13th Part 8 for years. I had it in my head that it was the same actor from an Adam Ogoyan film, a Canadian director, that he used over and over, and it's not the same guy at all. I don't even think they look that much alike, but I've done that numerous times over the years, like, mix up an actor or be certain that it's something and it's not.
Yeah, that drives you crazy, man. And I guess it probably happens more as you get older. It's really funny. My father's just on another level with it, though. He's just like for example, this is the great story. My father years ago, actually, I still have it here because we've been talking about it so much lately. There's a Mr. Rogers soundboard. Okay. You know who Mr. Rogers is, right?
Yeah, but why did this come up in conversation?
Because years ago, my brother got his hands on it in like the early 2000s. And nowadays we can't prank anybody we know because they got everything on block. So they won't take calls from numbers they don't know. And if you try to use like a prank dial app, they have all those numbers blocked because my brother and I have pranked everybody too much. Doesn't work anymore. So my father's come off it. But once upon a time in the early days, the early 2000s, early times of cell phones and whatnot, if someone's willing to pick up a phone call from some number and they don't know who it is, you can prank them because you could do the star 69. It comes an unknown caller or whatever the hell it is, star 68, whatever it was. So my brother used to prank my father, and he had a Mr. Rogers soundboard, and it had all these different things on. I was just playing with it the other day because it's actually quite funny, some of the stuff that he talks about. And but because he has like that soft-spoken voice, Mr. Rogers, basically all my brother said was like, it was Mr. Rogers. He goes, hello. And he goes, and then he says, who's this? And then you got to be quick on the responses. It's
Hey,
Fred
neighbor.
Rogers. Yeah, it's Fred Rogers, he says. So then he's talking, and then at one point he says, what would you say to Lady Elaine if she were here right now? That's what it says. So he messed with my father once with that, maybe twice. Now, in my father's mind, it was a gay guy trying to take him out. When he thinks about it now, and he made the story, it's so much different now. He goes, the guy
Like,
called
ask
8
him out
times.
or fight him.
No,
Like,
no,
take him
no,
out on
no,
a
no.
date.
Yes. So we ask him now, what was the guy saying when he called him? And he goes, oh, he was saying, oh, I want to be with you. He wasn't saying any of that. It was just because he had this soft-spoken Mr. Rogers voice.
I want to be with you.
Yeah, it's great.
Come on, neighbor. Let me just tie my shoes first. All I remember him, it's like half the shows, I'm tying his fucking shoes.
Because he would come in, he would take the shoes on or off, and then he would do it again at the end of the
Japanese? Like, just wear the shoes in the house. Wear your outdoor shoes in the house.
It is one great thing about Japanese, though. I'll say that.
It's
I love the
great
removal of the shoes. 100%. I don't know why it ever fell by the wayside here. It used to be the same thing here, right? Like,
take off your shoes.
Typically,
we do it at home, but then
well, yeah, we do too. We don't walk around in sneakers.
The front door is a disaster zone because, like, my daughter just decides all of her shoes have to be. She's the neatest person ever, except for the front door. It's like a bomb's gone off. I'm like, get these shoes out of my way. I'm tripping over other people's shoes. It drives me crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, that sucks. You got to get one of those things. They're like a
closet. We have one of those.
Not a closet, a shoe thing. It's like you put rack? Your shoes. It's like a shoe rack. It's a shoe rack. That's what it is. Get a little shoe rack there, and then you could put them right on there. You could even put that at the bottom of a closet. You know?
we have that. It's the sheer volume of shoes. Even my wife went in the closet and go, I think there's probably like 20 pairs of shoes that can be thrown out. I'm like, get rid of them. Bring them to like at the one of the donation bins. We have the tendency of filling up donation bags and then leaving them in the garage, and then the garage is just filled with all these donation bags.
We've done that too. Between that and, of course, the never-ending bottles, because I have water bottles to the fucking. I have 4 containers in my garage right now, just for water bottles. That's it, and they fill up, and then every 3 weeks I bring them back, and I get like freaking $40.
You're talking about the big cahoons?
No. I'm talking about these regular waters, and then you recycle them. So I have all these boxes. They're old like laundry baskets, and I have like 4 different ones. And I take them, I open my garage door, and I chuck it in there, and they fill up because I drink so much water.
It's going to be interesting when I'm waiting, because in other countries it's gone back to glass for those, and it would be that's just because of the recycling factor. Glass can be reused, plastic supposedly, but there's been a big controversy, and water bottles are part of that bigger part of that controversy. Just so much waste.
Yeah, really.
So much waste.
You can't recycle this.
You can, but like, again, I remember this is from a decade ago or longer, so I'm sure it's still a major issue. Admittedly, I haven't looked it up recently, but there's like a giant, like, if you've heard these things like waste mass in oceans floating. It's like, kilometers by kilometer long of water bottles and shit just floating around. And they say, ultimately back in the day, I think you probably remember it because you remember these things very fondly. Everything was in glass. Your Coke bottles, at that point, it was water was like the liter bottles, or you got the big things. Nobody was buying water. Avion or whatever the hell it is. Avian, whatever the hell. Avion? That was like the one brand that I remember, the one that spells naive backwards. that one. That was like the one I remember buying. You could buy water, but that's like, who in the right mind would buy water? That would be something my dad did not do. It came from the tap, and if you wanted to, filtrate it, you could like a filter on it, but you're not buying it. Like that was like blasphemy. Like he was
Man, I've been
frugal and or just smart about it. What probably both.
I've been buying water as long as I can remember. I remember when it was still I used because I gotta say this is probably like I don't know, 92, 93, 94. I was buying water way back then.
Well,
Because
yeah,
we
of
were
course, but they used to have the big jugs at one point. That's what you used to take home, and you could fill them up and whatever. Then
yeah,
you bring those back for deposit, and they'd be reused. And that it was that. And then it was like, why
I did
don't we
that too.
just sell filtered water to people? So then Coke and Pepsi all got into it and either bought a company or started their own. And essentially,
Right.
what we're buying is just filtered water. Like that's really filtered tap water in some cases. And then some of them have gone through like Dasani. I think it goes through like reverse osmosis. I don't even know how we
Yeah.
got onto water, but I mean,
Yeah.
uh,
It's purified. See,
yeah,
this one's purified. It tastes
yeah.
good though.
Usually, yeah, they and then they'll go through a process and take the
Then there's
minerals out.
spring. Yep.
Spring
I
water was
drink
what I remember as a kid. It was everything
that's
was
what
spring
yeah.
water. That was
It was
back in the
always
day.
spring.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Poland Spring. That's the first one I used to drink all the time. Poland Spring, and I still do now. Actually, this is a good backup though. It's Dollar General, and it's good. It's Clover Valley is the name of the company. It actually tastes good. It's purified water. It's the backup. So I drink Dollar General. That one that purified and Poland Spring. It's been that way forever.
So purified water, am I unless it's like gone through osmosis or one of those factors, purified water is just simply they just take tap water and run it through their purification system and bottle it for you.
Yeah. Well, I suppose
No.
I could do the same at my house if I wanted to take these old bottles and get the purification and fill them all up and then let them sit there and then seal them back up. I guess it's possible.
I mean, we
But
buy them
it's
too.
so
We buy
cheap.
them too. And that's exactly it's gotten so cheap
Yeah.
and whatnot. But I admittedly part of me is just like, if these I wish these were glass still. And then I could just, you could still recycle them or you
Glass.
could bring them back.
There'd be glass all over the place. That's the problem. Is that you buy a 24 case, like you buy a 24 pack of water. What are you gonna walk around with a big thing of glass? There's, how many times that will be dropped and freaking all over the place. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is people are gonna break glass. That's the thing. Glass is so clunky and uncomfortable. Even if I get a 6-pack of beer, which happens next to never. My brother brings them over, and I the last time I had a beer was I don't know, Memorial Day. So it's like I'll have one on the 4th of
Gosh,
July.
Memorial Day.
But it's like even when I have a bottle of beer, 2 beers or something, I don't put them in the same containers I put the plastic in. They're too big and clunky and it's not the same. I just take them and I put them in a recycle bin and I take it out with the freaking recycles instead of returning them to the store. Because it's too fucking much to deal with all that.
I don't know how we got on this.
It's
I
either
don't know
way.
how
glass,
the fuck we got on this.
You know what's still glass? I don't know if you know what this is. New York Seltzer. Do you remember New York Seltzer?
No.
Okay. New York Seltzer was this cool type of seltzer stuff. They came in they were smaller ones. They were glass. If you search around, you can still find stores that sell New York Seltzer, but that's only available the old school way in the glass. So it's kind of interesting. But just getting that, I'm like, wow. It's just such a different world.
It's coming back. I'm telling you, man.
It's going to be trouble. There's going to be glass on the street. There's going to be fucking people getting cut up. There's going to be cars. Freaking tires are going to get flat. People are going to be throwing glass all over the place. You can't trust. You think you can trust the freaking people nowadays with glass? I don't think so. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Either way, we're halfway in between.
That's our environmental segment. It's going to be new. That and we're bringing back Fangoria.
That and Fango. That's it. So yeah, okay. Right now we're between Canada Day and the 4th of July. It's a big patriotic.
It's our patriotic show. Yeah.
Weekend. Yeah. Which I'm not patriotic.
I painted a room yesterday. Yeah, we didn't do anything relaxing. Well, yeah, I'm switching over. We're switching because my oldest she's not moved out, but she's at school and she keeps saying that she's probably gonna not return permanently. But we're like, well, there's always a room for you here, no matter what. However, you had the bigger room. Would you be okay if we switched your brother into that room, and then you will have his room when you're back and whatever. And she's like, yeah, absolutely, no problem.
Well, that's
So
cool.
we've been doing that, and so I had to do some wall repair that was done previously, and then prepped it, painted it, and so that's been our crazy weekend. That and watching movies.
Wow.
So I watch all these movies that we're covering tonight on Summer Sausage as it continues. I watched these movies last week. Do you know that I remember Hellraiser Deader a little bit more so. Ghost of Frankenstein, practically everything. I'm like, what the hell? So I had to rewatch both of them just to get refreshed. I had to rewatch both of them. So
I was just gonna say, go by my notes. I'll read you my note. You tell me what it means. Play that game because
I rewatched them both just to refresh. So there was something about me being proactive and being ahead of the game backfired on me a little bit because I was like, because I don't take notes. So then I was like,
that's why. See,
yeah,
you got to start taking notes. It might change your whole dynamic. Or watch it twice, but shit, what's more time consuming?
True enough. Although one of them was an hour long, which was fantastic.
Man,
we'll get to that later. Just
Yep.
I almost wanted to. So Scott. Oh my God, I fucked it up. So Chris, aka Scott, texted me. I don't know if he texted you as well. And so you have to. This is fantastic because here's his comment. You fucking Fangoria loving fuck. Thank you so much for that thrilling segment on the new show. Please record an entire 3-hour episode of nothing but Dave reading old letters from Fango readers while you change the screen from color to black and white and then back to color the entire time. I'll pay extra. And then he gave us like 4 middle fingers emojis. And so now I almost want to cancel the show for today that was planned and just do the whole show as Fangoria.
I would.
I love Fangoria. I almost want to do it just to say, yeah, and then make them pay extra for it.
It's a tier. You have to do it.
Yeah.
The Fango tier, $10. So now I thought everything was going good.
It's fine.
I've had like 5 or 6 people say they want Fangoria back, and now we have to have one detractor, and it's going to be discussed. And so now,
but he doesn't. He does it, and there's obviously some honesty there, but he doesn't.
Sure.
In the big picture, he doesn't care. Well, there's half jokes there too, but trust me, I think if he said Fango or no Fango, he'd be a big check mark of no. But
yeah,
hey, what is he gonna do?
I don't think he likes summer sausage either.
No, that's what's beautiful about it.
He just doesn't like anything that other people like, I think. I think he's one of those guys.
No, that's not true because and it's weird because there are certain movies that he hates Dawn of the I don't know what hates, finds Dawn of the Dead, OG, absolutely boring and dreadful. I think I brought this up on the show before, which shocks me. But he loves Possession.
Wow.
Like there's little weird things like that. He says he's not big into old movies, but he says he checks out older movies. Like he liked The Phantom Carriage, or he said he didn't mind The Phantom Carriage. So he's not opposed to checking stuff out. So I get it comes from actual, like there's a valid argument when he throws it out there. It's not like he's just dismisses it. Like he's checks certain shit out.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I mean,
if you can give a reason, it's fine. It's like me.
I mean, I know the guy through this and from interacting with them. I mean, I don't know. I'm not there, watching over his shoulder, making sure. But I mean, he comes across legit in the way he describes things and when he talks about it. And he collects 4Ks. He doesn't even afford a 4K TV or player yet.
Well, yeah, I think that was Moods for a while too. Yeah, that's funny. Hey, whatever. At least he's working his way up to it. It's cheaper to buy the 4Ks than the player, I guess. I don't know. Find them on sale.
We're going to continue to do the Fangoria segment. It works well with Summer Sausage and everything else that we're covering.
Hey, I love it, man. I love Fangoria. Any excuse for me to open up an old Fango, I'm down with it, And most people seem to like hearing it. I was even thinking about making a YouTube show, just like from the pages of Fangoria.
Undead Mail.
Episode 1, and then show them thing and talk about what's in there. I think people would love it, like Fangoria fans.
Yeah,
like to go through all of them.
This is what I was talking about Now, again, now this is one of those things where in my mind, I think we've talked about this on the show. We did, because now I'm wondering if it was just my thought process or we talked about the show. But we're talking about how to promote the show, and I wanted to do like the continuity
Reels.
issues in Friday the 13th, the reels or the Facebook
Yeah.
short or the YouTube shorts or whatever. And you could do that. And it was always like Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast presents. And then there could be
Yeah.
my shit, and then yours could be your shit, and like Fangoria Retro. And then whatever. You
great.
just go boom, 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 boom. Of course it would. Of
If I know
course
how to edit it
it
and do it. Of course.
you
Yeah.
can edit. It's not that difficult in the big picture.
Really?
Well, nowadays, because of all these videos, jump cuts are totally acceptable. Whereas back in the day, that was a faux pas. You couldn't do it. Now
Right.
you could jump cut till your heart's content, because you could be talking like this and then you fucked up or whatever like that. It just straight cuts to the fixed segment. People do it all the time.
Dude, I gotta
Shot.
ask you about. I've been meaning to bring this up on this show since this happened. And this,
Am I off
listen
the
to me.
charts
This,
here?
hopefully, no, you're great. Hopefully, you'll understand. You'll get the reference. I don't know what the show was. Damn it, I might even call my wife down. But when we were in
Check.
New York City, okay, when we were in New York City, we were in the airport, and this, I think this was actually the Jersey airport. We were getting ready to go back. Yeah. So we're in the Jersey airport and we're getting ready to come back home. And there's this show on TV. And the way this show is shot, it's like you and I would be having a conversation, and then it would do like a cut in the middle of it or something to like somebody else in another room. And then they would zoom in on them, and then they would talk for a second. Then they would go out, then it would jump back to somebody else. And then it was just like jump, 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 and these weird close-ups. And I want to say it's a popular show, like The Office, or like it's not Parks and Rec.
It's
What
a
the hell?
comedy show.
Yeah, it was. They were definitely trying to be funny too, on top of it. Yeah. And it took place inside an office building, because they were always indoors and there were people. But the way it was shot was so off-putting. I never saw anything like it.
Well,
it was freaking.
You've watched The Office, right? The Office is like,
I have
and Parks
not.
and Rec are kind of like documentary style. It's as if a documentary crew is following them around.
Okay, maybe so. Okay,
But you
I've
never
heard
see
about
the
this.
crew. So they're
with
talking
The
to
Off-
they talk to the camera, and then it'll be their interactions or whatever. But it still plays out like a show that's just sort of being documented by a third party.
Okay, see, this isn't that, because it's, what do you call it? If, like, obviously I'm very familiar with found footage. So if The Office is filmed like a found footage, then it's just somebody there and they're doing their thing. This does things like it jumps to another room, and then it comes back, and then it comes here, and just, it's so weird and off-putting the way this show is shot.
I don't know.
I'm gonna
Listeners,
see
if
if
that
Irene knows
can,
what it is.
if you can go by Dave's description and chime in, that would be fantastic.
Okay, let's see. I'm
Not
gonna
that
call
that sounds
my
like a
wife.
winning endorsement from the show.
I'm gonna call my wife. Let's try this here and see if it works. She's upstairs, but I'm still gonna call her because it'll be fun. I hope that's her number. Let's see. Big Papa, you hear it?
Hello, who is this?
Oh, this is Dad. I was looking for Mom. What are you doing?
She's right here.
Okay.
Hello, who is this?
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah. Why would you say who is this? She knows that Big Papa's my song. Right. Anyway, honey, do you remember when we were in the airport and there was this show on TV, and I kept remarking about how it was shot and how weird it was and how it was jumping around so much, and it was like really off-putting? And do you remember that or no?
No.
Oh, she never remembers anything I say or do.
Thanks for
That's-
ruining the segment, Irene.
That's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
No. It's okay. I just, damn it, it's gonna drive me nuts. It was the way the show was shot. It was freaking, and I kept saying something about it. The way it was. Either way, that's all right. If you don't
Still
remember
the
the show,
shot.
then yeah.
No, I don't remember.
All right, that's okay.
Okay.
Thanks anyway. Love you. Goodbye.
Love you too. Bye.
Oh, Mano. All right. Well,
You never. That's the thing. They never remember the shit that you want them to remember.
no, never, never. And you're right there. What the hell was that show? It's gonna drive me up a wall. The way the show was shot, though, I remember seeing it. It was so. It was actually like the way some people complain about shaky cam, about boom, 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 and how they can't handle it. That's what was going on in this show, where it was making me not like sick to my stomach because it wasn't like shaky, but it was just like jump, jump. It was just a weird way. And then there was a lot of zooms and other stuff. They would zoom in someone and they would say something funny, and then they would go, and then they would go to some other room. Like time would jump in the thing, and then they would go back to like two people be in a room talking, and then they would show other characters in other rooms doing something else. Then they might show some characters.
I mean, it sounds like The Office or Park and Rec, but I mean, but they're not so much the jump cuts, but the style that you're just describing.
Well, I gotta watch them eventually anyway. I've been saying forever I'm gonna watch The Office, and because everybody
The Office is like my son. The Office is my son's favorite show. And other than maybe Simpsons, like he likes to put The Office on all the time.
Okay. Did it go bad like every other show that people talk about? They're only good for so many seasons. That's why I never watch shows.
Well, what ended up happening is the main guy, why am I forgetting his name? Famous comedian guy, very funny. Steve Carell. Okay. He left.
Cartel.
He was Cartel. I don't know.
The Mexican cartel.
Yeah.
Cartel. Steve Cartel. That'd be great. There should be a Steve Cartel show.
So he decided he wanted to leave. So it was a UK show, and then they did the American version of it. And Ricky Gervais was the creator. He was the creator of the UK one, but the American one, of course, became way more popular because it's American. And then what ended up,
right.
So then it ran way, much longer. But he got kind of tired of it. I guess wanted to focus on movies or doing something else. So he left, and I think it went 2 more seasons, maybe 3, but 2 more where they played around with it. But the rest of the cast came, and then Will. Oh my God, I'm fucking everybody's name up. Where Farrell came on.
Farrell.
And then I was going to say Pharrell.
Like Perry Farrell?
Yeah, or something, yeah. And then nice. James Spader even came on at one point. The very funny James Spader, but he was actually really good in it. But it just didn't have the same, although chemistry was still there because you had all the other characters, something just didn't really click. I'm sure there are some people that liked it, possibly even liked it more, but it just, it lasted a few seasons and it was done. Then they
just a deterrent for me. Every time I hear this about shows, it's a deterrent. I want to hear that a show is good from start to finish. The shows I like, to me, they're always good start to finish. You never hear me dog a show.
I think you can enjoy it until he leaves. And then you could try it after because other people did like it.
But I like to see. I'm a real sucker for how they wrap up when they get to the last episode and the last season and the way so I love that story part. I like the beginning to the end story. I'm kind of a sucker for that. The way some people are completionists about collecting things. I'm a completionist, I guess, when I watch a show, because I want to see start to finish the story, and it bothers me when it's.
Yeah. I seem to remember that they gave it a pretty good finish, that if you wanted to stop there, you'd been satisfied. But again, it did continue. So, and I don't remember watching the finale, to be honest.
See what I mean? You
fell out of the show.
See what I mean? That's what.
But I fall off shows. I don't watch Simpsons religiously anymore. I'll just jump in, jump out, jump in, jump out. Like I haven't watched it consistently in years, but I've watched reruns consistently.
Matter of fact, I'm just getting to Family Guy from what do you call it? What years are they? From like years 2014 and 15 and up, because I stopped at one point and didn't go back for no reason. I didn't like it anymore. Something happened. I forgot what it was, and I stopped, whatever. And just recently, the past month or two, I realized when I stopped watching what season, and I'm watching them all again. So I'm not from season 1, from like season whatever it was in 2013 or 14 and up. So I've been watching that a lot. So I'm catching up on that show because I really enjoy that one. But no other cartoon except South Park. Simpsons, I still like. Just for some reason, it never had the same. Didn't have the same grab for me.
Simpsons? Really?
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't like it.
Yeah.
I just something about it. I just never go back to it. I don't know what it is.
That to me is comfort food. I've always thought The Simpsons was really funny. Then it kind of felt like it died out when they started using this gimmick that everything would shift. It seemed like every 2 minutes, the show seemed like it shift gears. And I'm like, so if you start the show, you can almost, there's a whole time frame there, multiple seasons, I think, where you're like, I don't remember this episode because it starts one way and then flips like 4 times throughout the show or whatever. You're just like, oh, whereas before it felt like, oh, this is the Mr. Plow show or episode. This is like whatever. You just knew what you're getting into. The Barber Quartet one, like
a lot of Homer.
But then it
Baby
felt
on
like
board.
Yeah, Baby on Board. And I think it got back. Maybe I just got used to that type of like fragmented storytelling for the show. Cause then I started watching shows that I'd never seen before and thinking they were funny. And I like Family Guy and South Park. I could take through a bit. I find South Park a little annoying.
Wow.
A little annoying. The voices a little bit bug me, but it's funny. I still think it's funny.
Oh, I love it.
Isn't it funny that we're talking about this and Ramman was talking about you guys should talk about animated horror? And I don't think I've seen, when I really try to think about it, like maybe Vampire Hunter D back when I was a teen. I don't know if I've seen anything or my early 20s. Again, depending on when it came out, but it was a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen anything like Watership Down considered horror.
Yeah, the old classic, Watership Down. Yep.
The shit out of me as a kid, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was scary. I think that's where Heather lives, Watership Down or some shit like that.
That's water down, but very close.
Yeah, because every time I hear her, it's always in my, yeah. You know, it sounds Canadian. I wonder if that show was Canadian. Watership Down, that movie could have been. I don't know.
I remember
How about The Secret of
being
Nim?
very upset as a kid watching that.
What?
The Secret of Nim, I remember watching once and liking it, but it was never one that I put on repeat.
Like
Watership Down, I watched. Watership Down, I haven't watched in freaking decades either. But as a kid, I watched it kind of consistently.
I want to see if Watership Down is Canadian. If so, there's something to this, you know. Watership Down. Anyway, it was kind of scary though, you know. John Hurt. How about that?
I think what you're thinking of, I think I know exactly what you're thinking of. You're thinking, because you are in so close proximity to Canada, you're thinking of a cartoon that used to play all the time called The Green Forest.
I do remember that too.
It's the Green Forest, the Green Forest. I don't remember any more of that. And now the animation in Watership Down is much better, but it kind of had that feeling. Now,
it's from the UK. Yeah. See, Watership Down's from so close enough. It wasn't American. They didn't speak like American. Something was off about it for an American audience. Is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Well, you know what I mean. The accents were different, or the way they spoke. So the UK or Canada, it may as well be the same thing from a perspective of a kid in the 80s watching something. They're different. You know what I mean? You know they're different. You can see the way they talk, the way they act. It's a little bit different than obviously the UK with the thick accents, for sure. And Canadians have their accents as well, but still, I don't know if there's any accent. Well, there has to be. Watership Down. How about Dot and the Kangaroo? That was Australian, right?
No, that was you. You kept bringing. You brought that up on the show before.
Yeah.
I had never heard of it, and I remember Brandon was right there with me, and then you posted some stuff on it and whatever. I don't remember that at all.
Dot and the Bunny. That was a big thing.
But what other horror, like other than the ones that Ramman listed,
there are there, you know. Wow.
There's Soul Station that came out recently.
Yeah, which I didn't bother with. I just never gravitate to them. It's simple as that. The one, when I had to do them for podcast, I watched them. One was a Vampire Hunter. It might not have been D. I think there might have been, I don't know. Either way, it was a Vampire Hunter.
A through C?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Vampire Hunter D. Anyway, That should have been the pornographic one, Vampire
Yeah.
Hunter D. And then, so anyway, I'm pretty sure though. I watched the Vampire Hunter for a year for summer series, and it wasn't Vampire Hunter D. It was something else. Let's see here.
Oh, maybe there's a ton of them or spin-offs now. I don't know. It's going back way
Well,
back.
let's see here.
Freaking when?
Vampire Hunter D and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. That's what it was. I saw the one called Bloodlust from 2000. Yeah, that was the one. 2000 must have been that year.
And when was Vampire Hunter D out?
D was 85.
Yeah. I thought it was way back when, because I would have only been, well, I wouldn't have seen it then because I wasn't into horror quite then. I was I would have probably been early 90s.
Okay.
And I would have checked it out.
Yeah, and I liked it. I remember that. I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's not, it's just never going to be my go-to. I just rather watch a movie, like a regular movie. But then when we were doing 1994, I want to say, for 22 shots, with the 90s being kind of weak, you're looking at different stuff. And then that's how I discovered the one. I mean, it was I probably heard of it through Dave Parker, who gets these lists of everything, and that was made in 94. And then there was Fila Day about the cats, and that was good stuff, man. That made my top 10 of that year, so that was one I really liked. But the other ones, I just, Watership Down, The Plague Dogs, Animal Farm, Rock and Rule. There are a bunch of these freaking, I don't know. How about Judas and Jesus? What is this?
What about Rover Dangerfield?
Oh, remember that thing? Yeah. Rover Dangerfield. Remember Bunnicula? The bunny that was Dracula?
For some reason, I've never seen it, but some reason I know of it.
Yeah, Bunnicula. Oh, wait, 2016. That's not the one. Hold on. See, they got to freaking ruin everything. Although it might be good. I shouldn't say ruin it, but the original Bunnicula, here it is. January 9th, 1982, The Vampire Rabbit. Yeah, there you go. So, it looks like everything else.
Speaking of animation, I rewatched Pink Floyd The Wall this week because I like revisiting that every now and then. Man,
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm just so mad it's not on fucking Blue or 4K.
Yeah.
There's not a good freaking print of this movie, and
I'm sure that's going to come. I wonder if Second Sight will do it. Second Sight.
And I've got Second Sight.
I'm trying to.
See? Got amazing. Yeah. My Floyd, man.
Well, I just saw through Second Sight that they're doing, they have It Follows. The cool thing is they'll do the deluxe version, and then they'll just do the 4K standalone and or Blu-ray. But they have that coming out deluxe. There was something else coming out that here I can find it in 2 seconds because I've used the Shop app because I was trying to track my Frontiers, the French Extreme one.
Oh yeah, right.
They have that one coming out in a deluxe, regular, and regular 4K, and then blue as well. But yeah, Pink Floyd The Wall. Watch that again. It's such a unique film because there's very few movies that have successfully combined, like, it's almost like one long music video, as we well know, but it's telling a story, combining animation with its storytelling technique as well. And it feels like it's seamless. It just seems to work.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Tarantino did it in Kill Bill, but the animated segment was a segment. Like, it was just a piece of story. And again, Krampus and Trick or Treat tell, their one backstory. There's some animation.
Yeah, but this is 1977.
I know.
They weren't really doing music videos yet, and they weren't doing movies like that yet, unless they were like Disney in the past, where they had animation with real actors. You know what I mean? And there are segments of animation in there. Yeah, for sure. The Trial, a lot of animation there. And then other parts throughout. But yeah, oh shit, don't get me started on fucking Pink Floyd, especially The Wall. I listened to The Wall every day for a year. Like there have been like 3 or 4 albums in my lifetime, as much music as I listened to. And this was at a time I was doing a lot of driving. I was delivering pizza still and whatnot. I've listened to 3 or 4 albums every day for a year. And that was the first one I did it with. And that every day, Pink Floyd, The Wall. Every day. Pink Floyd, The Wall, the Beatles' White Album, 9 Inch Nails, Downward Spiral, Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy and Infinite Sadness, and Marilyn Manson, Antichrist Superstar. I listened every day. And De La Soul's
like
dead
that too. I've gone through that. It's weird. Some of the ones that have fallen into that category, because Pink Floyd The Wall would be one, not consistently for a year, but that I listened to because I'd keep the CD in, play it over and over and over again, pop it out, pop the second one in when I had the CD players in the car or whatever.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and there's tons of great tracks from that. That's what's so great about it. Comfortably Numb, again, like you as a standalone song, I think is one of the best. And it's just part of that as well. I just love that track. And so, but I did that with Radiohead in Rainbows of all albums.
Oh, wow, interesting. Okay.
And that I had that on in my car, and I just kept it playing as I was driving to work, driving home, driving to work, driving home. But I would not necessarily say that was my favorite Radiohead album or put it in my top 20, 30 albums. It's interesting. It just happened to be one of the ones that I listened to over and over. And I did that.
Maybe it's a great driving album.
Maybe, but I also did that with a lot of metal when I said, you know what, I only listened to certain metal when I was younger. I'm going to try to check out all these new bands. And I wasn't going deep into the weeds, because when you bring up metal now, you've got Don and Ellie with one going down one other path. You have Ramen that will tell you some options as well, and then you have Chris A.K. Scott that will shoot some options. And I'll check them out. I'll check everything out. I take recommendations, but sometimes it's just too dark or whatever. It's just not for me. And I tend to go back to the usual suspects. But when I was trying to do this, I tried to listen to the album, and you'd probably have to give it 2 tries, because especially if it wasn't a style that you're used to, like Cannibal Corpse or Death or something like that, where you're like, I don't even know what this is at first. It just sounds like noise. And then you have to kind of get your mind used to it and decipher it. But I'd find that although there were some maybe standouts here and there, I could overall, I couldn't really get into them. Just not for me. Whereas Lamb of God at
consistent
first was I was like, this is really hard, maybe a little too hard for my likings initially. And then I got into it. I was just having this discussion with my wife, because when I was painting the room, Lamb of God was, it would be on oh my God, just not on loop, but on random and on shuffle. Excuse me. Holy shit, I went hooked on phonics there. And it would pop on, and she was like, "This is Lamb of God, right?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." She's like, "I just can't get it. It's like, it's just too. There's nothing for me to grasp onto." I get it. I said, "You have to listen to it more." And she goes, "You would want to listen to this more than once?" I'm like, "Well, yeah. You just have to get used to the style, and then you start. It's like your brain gets into the rhythm, and can actually decipher and look deeper into the guttural lyrics. You can actually pick out, like Lamb of God. You can still sort of understand. Some
Correct.
Of these other
That's why I like them.
You can't.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I love Lamb of God. 2 reasons. Number one, I can understand the vocalist for the most part. I think he's really good. And I also think that the band is very talented. The drum work, everything. They're good musicians that happen to play this kind of music. And that's all there is to it. Some bands are just that talented. But when you add all that talent with a lead singer that I can understand what he's saying most of the time.
Yeah.
And he delivers in that aspect. That's what it is about that band. For me, they're different than other bands because of that. And that's what it is about them. And I discovered them by accident, because years ago I was working out and I listened to Slayer a lot. And I remember Pandora, Well, I'm sure it's probably still around. So Pandora, it's like whatever that thing is. It's like Spotify,
Oh,
whatever the fuck.
yeah, yeah. The
You
app
get stations.
or the
Yeah,
yeah
I had
the site.
Pandora,
Yeah.
and I was listening to the Slayer channel. It was called because you can start a channel anytime
Yeah.
based on what you're listening to. You could do it on Apple even. So
Yeah.
anyway, I started listening to the Slayer channel just to get some other type of band similar to Slayer I might have napped on or so I didn't know about. And
Yeah.
sure enough, Lamb of God kept coming up, and I was like, man, I really like this. And that was it. That's all it took. Then I just started, in this day and age, it's you just go on the places and you start looking through the albums and see what is what, and I started liking them all. So that's just one of those bands. I'm with you, man.
That's kind of what I did. I just went through all, and I would go through their discography if I could. Yeah. But Lamb of God sort of stood out from that. And there's been a band here and there and some new ones that have popped up through recommendations. But from consistent standpoint, that was the band that won me over.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's great. And the thing is, I'm always doing things, and I'm always like doing different playlists and doing different. I always have something going on where I'm putting something together. My mind is so that I have to have these little tasks going on at all times. So it's like I've been doing this thing with Fish where I'm listening to this here. I'm listening to the tour of 2009 along with the tour of 1993, and I'm alternating. And then when I finish 93 and 2009, I'll go to 94 and I'll go to 2010 tour and I'll do comparing. So I'll do, because I don't want to listen to everything all in a row. I like to do the comparing and listen to stuff. So anyway, that's just one thing I've been doing with Fish. Now I've been doing this thing. I put together this 80s playlist, and it was just all kinds of stuff that I had in my iTunes and whatnot. I put it together. Then I started going on these lists of the top 100 one-hit wonders of the 80s. So now I'm getting every one of those one-hit wonders that I like.
Yeah.
Putting them on, and I'm adding them to my 80s mix. So now I'm focused on this 80s mix. Before
did Midnight Oil come into that?
I don't know. I didn't like that song. Maybe nowadays I'd like that song more. At the time, I couldn't stand it.
The time has come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did that when the beds are burning. That thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know what you said to lead into it, but yeah, that one.
Yeah. How do we dance when something?
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Yeah. The time has come.
The time is now, or something like that. The place is now. Either way, that song will probably make it. But that's what I'll do. I'll go through all these one-hit wonders and I'll build them up. I'll put them there.
Now, I just died in your arms tonight.
That's how they're Cutting Crew. Cutting Crew for sure, man. Yeah.
I'm sorry, not to interrupt you, but I'm going to just keep interrupting you with one-hit wonder songs.
It's probably fun. It's funny. What was I doing before that? I was putting together all my rap stuff, and I stopped. See, I'll burn out sometimes, and then I'll put it down, and then I'll come back to it. It takes time, but I was going through every album released, every rap album from the early 80s and on, and I got to 1987, and I was right in the middle of it, and I stopped. But every time I get to an album from 87, I add it to this mix called Classic Rap. And it's there, and if it's an album I like on a band I like, then I put it on there, and I'll listen to the whole album. Like anything will come up, like a Spoonie G album will come up. I'll listen to the whole fucking thing. If it was released in 87, I'm going to listen to it. And either I did own it at one time on cassette or I didn't, whatever. I'll listen. In the songs that I like, I'll put on this mix. The other songs I'll delete from the library. But that's what I'm doing. I'm going to go through all hip hop from the early 80s.
Were you an LL Cool J fan?
Yeah, huge. Yeah. Loved like fucking Bad? Bigger and Deffer and Walking.
Bigger and Deffer is that one.
Yep. First one, Radio, definitely. Those first three are great. But so that I went through that, and I'll probably stop at like 92, 93, 94-ish era. I don't know, but I'll get there. But that's what I'm saying. I always bounce around. My mind is like this. And now I've started this 80s collection thing, and now I'm piecing that one together. I'll go back to the other one later, but I always have these little playlists going. Like, I'm nuts. I have so many playlists and things in my notepad. You would think I was as neurotic a person as you could be. And maybe I am. I just,
Oh, hey, guess what I did? I'm sorry I had all these, I have notes for things I want to talk about, and I'm worried we're going to run out of time. But the problem is, like, no, I don't want to switch gears because it will switch gears. So if you have more on your playlist, let's talk about your playlist.
No, I
because
don't think so.
I will derail it completely.
You can't talk about music forever. That's fine. I still want to talk about some movies that I've been watching.
Oh,
'cause I'm
yeah.
on this found footage rampage for fucking
That's
a
it.
month.
I have those too, but two things before we get into the what we were watching thing.
Let-
First
let's
off,
hear.
this chair that I've been sitting on that kind of makes noise every now and then that I, depending on if I move or not, it's not doing it now because of course it wouldn't. But this chair was my dad's old computer chair way back
Oh,
when.
right on.
I've been using it ever since. When I come down to the basement, this basement sometimes it smells damp, or I could smell the kitty litter, and I got to change it before the show, or my eyes are gonna water and bleed. I'm sitting here, and I'm just smelling them. Like it's just a kitty litter. Did he go somewhere else or whatever? Like it? No. What I've realized is it's just chair. It's absorbed so much ass and fart and everything else over the course of its lifetime that I think I gotta finally get rid of it. I'm smelling the
Ooh.
chair as I'm sitting in it, and it's absolutely just I triple dog dare anybody to smell the seat of this chair. Like you might get pink nose or so. I mean, like
Pink nose.
I don't know, pink eye or pink
Pig
nose, pink eye, like whatever. It's going to affect something on you because it's disgusting. I can't wait. I think we're going to be retiring it this week, which is why I bring it
Wow.
up. Because with the shuffling of what we're doing upstairs, I've got myself one of our newer chairs that doesn't smell like ass, and this one will go. So my dad passed away in 2022, and 2002, excuse me.
I say, geez.
And
Go ahead.
2002, sorry. And that was his chair for like, I don't know, a good 5 years before then. So this chair's lasted a long ass time.
Sorry, my back hurts. I can't.
That's okay, man.
Here.
That's okay. This chair has provided a lot of comfort, a lot of fart retention, as I mentioned already.
It's a long time.
It smells
Fumigated.
like it's torn. It's worn in a couple of areas. It needs to be retired.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I had to let a chair go. I was so sad about doing it when I moved. And I brought it all the way from Vegas. All the way back to Buffalo. Because this was a chair. That's how much I loved the chair. It was a recliner. The thing
why'd
is,
you get rid of it? Oh.
Well, the reason I was so attached to it was because it was the same one I had when Francesca was born, and it was my dad's chair, and I used to sit there and hold her when she was a baby, and all those until she stopped sitting on my lap. You know, I said that was always where I, hung out with her. So it was a sentimental thing. I always wanted to keep it, but it was really wide. It was a real wide recliner, and it just got to the point that I kept going from place to place, and then when Irene came, I got furniture with her. She came with furniture and everything else. And then when we moved,
she came with furniture.
Yeah.
Not baggage, but furniture.
Well, furniture, baggage, a couple dogs.
Leave the baggage at home, Irene. Furniture can come in.
She didn't come empty-handed, that's for sure. So all this stuff come in, and now we got to move, and we're going to another place. And we knew it wasn't our final destination. We were going to rent next, and then we were going to get our house and everything. So anyway, it ended up, I just couldn't lug it around anymore. I never sat in it. It was just, I just kept it alive for sentimental reasons. You know what I mean? And then eventually I had to let it go. And that was it made me sad. And one time I was working and I drove by and I saw it on on someone's lawn, and I go, man, that must be the fucking, how could it not? It was a purple recliner.
Did you smell it?
You don't see too much purple. I thought about it, but it was out in the rain and everything. I mean, I should take this back.
Yeah.
All I know is I felt bad.
Yeah.
I wanted that recliner. I always wanted to have it. I wanted to be an old man and have it and say, tell my daughter, this is where I held you when you were a baby and all that shit. And it's gone. So that kind of sucks. That's the thing. But what are you going to do? That's the problem, moving and moving and moving.
Well,
so
what
were you talking about? Your chair. Yes.
No, that's it. That's it with the chair. The other thing that I want to bring up is that I had to go on a trip again this week for work. And instead of watching shit I did watch some stuff on the plane, but it was after I wrote script for the found footage movie. So how many pages are we in now? Let me tell you.
Well.
Because I had to switch it over because I was writing it on my phone because I don't bring this computer with me. And so then I transferred it over on Friday night. We are, or we, we're, I'm almost halfway through page 18 now.
Is this the idea I had with the tapes and all that?
No. This
Okay.
is no, because that's your idea. I don't want to, I'll like,
Oh.
if you want, we can flesh it out. This is the original idea, which was the original movie we were going to do. And we said, nah, you know what? Maybe we should go do a street slasher. And then we did the slasher script. Then I'm like, the downfall is, although I still admit that I do like it, it's just way too ambitious, way too huge. I think we need a stepping stone. And so then we went back to this idea, which was supposed to be the exploding heads, and it was supposed to be us, but now it's not us. But it's based on the podcast, based on everything that happened. And so it's got the branding camera upside down thing that really happened, but it's awesome. Embellished. It's embellished for the story. It's got the essence of the show, but it's not called Exploding Heads. It's like 3 guys and a girl, and
3 guys and a girl. Yeah. What is this, a porno?
Yeah, that's
3 guys and a girl.
But it's called It's a Horror Show, and it's a bi-weekly, scary movie podcast. And it's that idea that we had where the Death Escort Service review, but it's not Death Escort Service, comes back to haunt the show, essentially.
Right on. No, that's okay.
That's it in a nutshell. That's the one that when you didn't show up, and I brought this up to the show numerous times now, Watson and I kind of spitballed ideas for a bit. And then the day flew by. We're like, holy shit, the day disappeared on us. So, but nice. I'm still in setup mode, because like I said, this would be, roughly that hour, 10 hour, 15 type minute, sort of runtime, which seems consistent. I've noticed with a lot of the laptop style horror films, which brings me to like some of what I watched this week, which were, I went back and I watched Unfriended, and I went back and I watched The Den.
Nice. Oh, classics.
So a couple of found footage are from that a subgenre of that genre, if you will, of that subgenre. Weird subgenre of the subgenre.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Why is it a subgenre of the subgenre?
Well, I don't know, because it's not just, I guess it's not traditional found footage. This would be like laptop horror. You could call it laptop horror. Host.
Yeah.
There's now a handful of them that fall into that. I'd say even Searching and Missing are in that, even though they're not horror, but like thriller type.
Right.
And then, Unfriended, Dark Web, The Den. Even though The Den deviates, and so does Searching and Missing, it sort of establishes itself as laptop horror. And then The Host being the more recent one, I guess.
Mm-hmm. The Den, there's supposed to be a sequel, apparently. I've been hearing. We'll see. Oh. We'll see about that.
I watched it with my daughter last night, and she liked it. Yeah. It's an hour and 15 in, out, done.
Oh, I love those short movies, man. I've been watching so many of them too. I love it. Like, I see a movie that's 90 minutes. I'm like, 90, it's too long for a found footage. You get spoiled. Because I watched 2 in a row, and they happen to be like 90-minute movies. And one was even a sequel of the other one this past week. And I was like, oh, 90 minutes. I say you get spoiled. It's like an hour and 15. You're like, boom, it's awesome. You can fit in as many as you want. And it's cool. And that's what I like about it. I pretty much lump it all into one category now. Found footage is basically old school found footage, which usually starts off as a mockumentary, or it's recovered tapes from a crime, and they'll say something at the beginning like these were recovered property of whatever police station or some shit, Then there's the laptop horror, as it were, and then there's the regular shaky cam stuff, and a lot of them are presented as documentaries. I like that.
The faux documentary one's pretty standard now, but some of them now you don't. And The Den is exactly one of these examples. you kind of set up the rules, but you can break them. So where I'm going with it is, once you establish that we're watching someone's screen and they've established screen record, now anything can kind of happen, that suddenly we're like, he hacks through it and then we're watching the screen there, but it's not being recorded at that particular point in time. So we're watching that as we're just seeing the life through this laptop. But then it even shifts where we're seeing the life through someone's phone camera. But but you don't maybe some people do, but I always used to nitpick at this. And now I've come to accept it, as I've mentioned before, way back when you gave me the challenge. The Den just seems to do it seamlessly in between. I'm not saying like suddenly you're looking at their laptop, then suddenly you're on someone's phone, then suddenly you're on a friend's phone, and they're showing it to you, but you just kind of accept it. Now they're not recording in that moment in time, but we're in that world, and it just becomes the way that the movie's being presented, that you're being presented through, whether it be laptop, social media, screen app, camera on your phone. Because there's one point, like, why is this person even recording? But you don't even ask that anymore. Like, here I'm at your door. You told me to come over, and then we see the text just come in. It's open, and then she films herself going into the or records herself going in with the phone, or not records, but is using her phone to go, hey, where are you? Like, why would that happen in real life? Yet you sort of just accept it in the found footage world. And I'm so worried about, is there a reason for this, that, and the other thing, where you don't necessarily have to be? Because once you're in this genre, you kind of have carte blanche to use whatever means of camera setup. It could go from laptop to security cam to phone cam to whatever.
They do that more often than not. They don't do it that way. Most of the time when you watch these, it's explained why they're filming. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes, like you say, they just do this, and this, and it's just accepted. It doesn't bother me, but I would say I prefer full explanations as to why everything's being filmed.
The Den is one of my standouts. The Den is one of my standouts.
That's great.
I've liked that, but it does jump with no explanation as to from this, that, to the other thing, and that's just our presentation. But
here's what's cool.
They show at the end, I guess they explain and at the end that everything is documented. So, but how they get certain people to film remains a mystery. But anyway, what was the one that what were you going to talk about?
One of them I just saw, I was like halfway through it, and I was getting a little frustrated because all these things are being filmed for no reason. Like, she's on the laptop, and we're seeing it here, and we're seeing it through the phone, and we're seeing this, and we're seeing this here. And then we find out halfway through the movie that somebody is stalking this person, and they have hacked into all their shit, and they're basically spying on them. And I was like, oh, bravo. That was good. See, I thought it was going to be, I'm not going to just sit there and accept stupidity like that. I want it to make sense.
I guess then you could explain it that way too, because that's kind of what's been happening. But it's just that they get to everybody.
Well, because they're paying for it. Of course they are. At the end of the day, we get that reveal at the end. So I guess of course they're
But it still
give me something.
It still doesn't explain why so-and-so is going into her friend's house, regular friend. There's nothing to be suspicious about, going, oh, you're through the front door. Okay, I can see the screen being hacked, but then her going in with the camera going, hey, Veronica, are you here? Where are you? Bed.
What do you mean her?
Her friend comes to see her, and then she's on her phone going into the house, videotaping it. There'd be no reason to be using your camera. It's like you coming over to my house. You're not going to be on your phone coming in going, hey, Christian, how's it going today?
Oh, wasn't she coming there because that she was missing though?
Well, no, but there's back and forth. It's her friend comes over to her place before she goes missing. This is how she goes missing. And then she's the laptop on the bed, and then clicks on the laptop, and the guy grabs her. It's a good jump scare.
Okay.
But there's absolutely no reason for her to be on the phone. There's a couple instances like that. I'm saying that there's the decisions. I get people being screen recorded and hacking in, but you can't, this is hacking into someone's mind then and saying, you must record this interaction with your friend. There'd be absolutely no reason for her to be using her camera
Understood.
at that time. That's all I'm saying. And it happens,
Okay.
I think, twice in the movie where it's just forced. But it's still really good, a standout in my opinion. But
Oh yeah, it's great. I
this
love it
is
when they have
yeah.
the mockumentaries, because in those ones they're usually making them so, and they want to equip everybody with a camera. So they give them to them at the beginning and they're already explaining, okay, we're going to have this. You're going to have a camera here. We put the camera on your head. We're going to see. So every character that's walking around the haunted house or this or that or whatever the hell's going on, there's a reason for them. And I like that.
You just gave
What
me a
else?
fantastic fucking idea, man. For as I'm trying to, what we're trying to brainstorm is how do we end the movie. I have like, all the
Well,
structure
that'll be
and
easy.
the way. No, now that you just gave me a great idea that could really work. I'm just going to jot it down before I
Sweet.
forget. And
Friggin' sweet, man. Nice.
yeah,
Boy, oh boy. Well, I mean, old found footage movies or older, most of them I'm watching are from like the last decade. Some are even older, and I'm just being acquainted with them now because I'm on this site. And then I went over to foundfootagecritic.com and I'm going they have a list of top rated movies from the site, and then it has a listeners thing, and I'm going through it's like 10 pages, it's like hundreds of movies, so I'm going through every one of them and I'm trying to see what ones that are highest rated, that I'm looking number one if I can even see them at all, and then I'm looking at people's takes on the found footage group because I trust them more than I trust people on IMDb and more than I trust people on Letterboxd, because I have figured this out about found footage. When you're a found footage fan, it's just, okay, how can I? People don't have any patience for it unless they're a fan. It's almost like it's a niche audience. But the thing is this, me who usually, I think it's fair to say that if something is not rational to me, it makes me angry when I watch a movie, right? When I watch, well, I always bring it out when we do review and I go, well, this doesn't make sense. If that's going to happen to me in a found footage movie, it's no different. I'm still going to say, okay, this doesn't make sense. So, but I still realize that there's something about the found footage movie, the way it's presented, the way the acting is done, the way things happen, that I just particularly enjoy. And I've noticed that other people just cannot take to it at all. It's just not their cup of tea, and this is my cup of tea. And I figured it out. And there are people like me, like I'm saying, this is the niche audience. It's like the modern day wrestling audience, if you would, where I've been trying to watch some of it to review. I'm going to watch a pay-per-view from one federation and the other, and really say I'm going to critique each match and critique the show and try to give it a fair shot, and then say what I like and what I don't. Well, I'm already the fourth match in on the one show, and I'm realizing that something is going on which is so preposterous that I cannot believe that people like it at all. It's completely different than anything you've seen in the past, and it's so fake, choreographed, and ridiculous and poor in execution that I'm like, why am I looking at this and I'm finding it terrible? And I've never said this about wrestling. And these people here, they go, oh, I love that guy. Oh, I love that they do this ridiculous thing. And I'm like, what? And I can't figure it out. But again, now it's a niche audience.
It always comes back to wrestling with you.
Well, because that's a niche audience, and that's what it's
I
become now. So now, see, I am now doing the same thing, but with this found footage. I'm rating these movies 3.5, and I'm seeing people we know watch the same movies rating it 1 and 2, like consistently, these found footage movies. And I'm like, I don't just watch any found footage movie and like it and automatically give it 3 stars. If it's a bad movie, it's a bad movie. I've seen bad found footage movies. The ones that I research and do get into, most of them I end up enjoying. They're not bad movies. But I've, through doing this, I have figured out that myself and the people in the found footage group, in the Facebook group, have the same sensibilities about it that I do. They love them. Some of them even go too far, or they'll watch like a turd, not a turd. Remember that movie we watched a couple years ago, Curse of Aurora? Remember?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. The
I give it
Canadian,
like a
the Canadian
6.
one. Yeah.
Whatever, I give it like a 6 or whatever. Some people have it in their top like 10 found footage, and I'm like, how?
Whoa. Because
This is what I'm saying.
that was one of my
Sometimes
weakest of that year, I
I
think.
know. Sometimes you'll get these people that are
Well,
diehard found footage fans
that's exactly
that'll
it.
rate generic found footage movies high. I don't think that's
Like
me.
slasher, dude. It's no different. I think we can
Right.
do it in every subgenre, and slasher
Right.
would probably be the other subgenre, because of course just the sheer volume that we've got to choose from, and whatever. So I get it. That could be someone's treasure, and yet we just dismiss it. Now, I would take your recommendation over a lot of other people's when it comes to found footage because of how invested you are in the subgenre. But the for slasher, I mean, like, let's think about it. Like, we have people that will put like House and Sorority Row at the top of their list, and I like it. It stands out above some of the crowd, but I got problems with that too. But I own it, just like I own
right.
a lot of them. Like, I mean, I'll come down on Intruder, but it's got some of the best and the goriest kills of any slasher movie made. So, like,
Correct.
these are the
Yeah.
pluses that you take out of them. And I understand what a slasher movie is supposed to be, but it's always nice when maybe they do something differently. In Intruder's case, they gave you the goods and the gore and whatnot. And in some other cases, they try to play around with the plot a little bit. And the ones that just don't deliver on anything, where the kills are lame and whatever, like I watched Lover's Lane and whatever, it's okay,
It's okay.
but it's just, it kind of just doesn't
right.
deliver the goods on anything. Like, you know, if you're making that subgenre, like, at least, I don't know, inject something. And the Curse of Aurora maybe had enough backstory that people liked it.
Yeah, and there was okay, decent backstory. I agree with that. But anyway, but I'm saying I do see posts like that sometimes in there. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw this movie, and I'm like, this was not a very good found footage movie, and so I see some people love it. So there are some people there that are so diehard, they love every found footage movie they see almost. You know what I mean? Then there's other people that are far too critical. But I would say 80% of the people that are in that have similar sensibilities to mine. They like decent found footage to good to great. You know what I mean? And they're okay, and it's comfort for them.
Remember that one we watched as well called, it's a Cut, Kill, Release? Is that the name of
Yeah,
it?
Capture, Kill, Release. That's a
Capture,
great one.
Kill, Release. So I remember all three of us were really high in it. Again, it was back when B was on the show. What is that? What is the thought process there? Because you seem to be, it almost sounds like you're in like the old school IMDb forums, but for found footage in that world. Maybe you're not, but it just sounds like you've got that kind of.
It doesn't seem like it comes up nearly enough, but I guarantee if I made a post and I said Capture, Kill, Release, don't sleep on this movie if you haven't seen it from this year, whatever, people will respond, say, yeah, it's a great one. It's a great one. I have a feeling that's the way, but it doesn't seem to be like you hear about it as much as some others. So I'll say that, but I think for the most part, people are going to like it. It's just one of those movies that come, and people like Butterfly Kisses. A lot of people really like that.
That one I haven't seen yet. Wasn't that on Darren?
Really?
Wasn't it on Darren's? Wasn't it on Brandon's most depressing or he had it on one of his lists. Not depressing. Maybe it was depressing.
I don't think it'd be Butterfly Kisses. I don't know. It's possible, but I don't know. You never know. It'd be. It's possible. What the hell was I going to say about the found footage? Though there was something else.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
No, not at all. Just something about. Here's my point. This is going to be controversial, but for me now, the way I feel, I think found footage is a better subgenre than slasher. And I'll tell you what made me think about this.
I think a lot of people are starting to come around to that because of the Paranormal Activities and all the other ones that have, like, we've been saturated with them, but there's a lot of options out there now.
It's not because of paranormal. It's not because again, how many great there's more solid slasher franchises than there are freaking found footage franchises. What do you got in found footage? You got Blair Witch, you got Paranormal Activity, you got the Hell House movies. That's a trilogy. Now there's going to be a prequel coming. You do have some. You don't have a whole hell of a lot of franchises. But for me, it's this. When I make my list, when I have my challenge list, if you will, everything on there, I pretty much, 95% of it, I give those movies a 7 or higher. All right. That's what it takes. That's one of the things it takes to make the list. However, I have other movies that I give a 7 that I don't put on the list. I'm like, okay, this is good, but I don't know if I'm doing this, if everybody's going to get it. I try to put movies on there that are a little more easily digestible than some other ones in certain ways. So I can give a movie a 7 and put it on the list as a great example of found footage, or I can give a movie a 7 and still leave it off. And I do that. So, but here's the thing. When we were putting together the slasher show, and this is what led me to think about this. Okay, from 50 to 45 or whatever it was, I think the qualifying number was 6.75, if I'm not mistaken, right? And there was a couple on there. And then there was a couple, you know what I mean? And then there was some 7s and they went on. But I remember towards the end of the list, if you're thinking about it, and there was a lot of 6.5s by my ratings. And we're only in 60 and 70 movies. And this is watching a lot of slashers. When I look at my found footage list now, it's like 70 movies. So if I have 70 movies that I'm willing to give a 7 or above in found footage already, I mean, I've only been watching found footage. Hell, I've been watching slashers all my life. You know what I mean? Granted, there probably are more found footage movies, but there's also a lot of found footage movies I'm still going to skip. But right now, there are a plethora that I just didn't know about. And that's what's great about found footage, because a lot of them don't come out on physical. So it's the era that we're in. You can make them on the cheap and you can get them uploaded and streamed, especially on the godsend that is Tubi, where you could get them there and occasionally on Plex and things like that. But they have not been available before. So it's easy to make them now. It's more modern. But I've added like freaking...
I look at my slasher list.
7.
Well, then you've got to give me the revamped list then, because I'll check them out, because I don't have a problem checking them out. I'm not a fan of all, as you well know, but like there were a couple of standouts on those lists, and the ones that stand out to me, I really enjoyed. I revisit, like I've said on this show, even the Unfriended, and Dark Web will be the next one I'll check out again. I seem to go back to the same ones. And for Paranormal Activity, although I'll still watch part 1 just because you got the perfect setup, but boy, do I like 2, 3, and 5, and 5 specifically.
Agreed.
More so.
I thought about last week just randomly putting on part 2. I don't know why. It's kind of a comfort.
You don't really need to see part 1 to enjoy part 2, because they tie it together enough. I mean,
right.
Once you know the history of it, I find 2 and 3 are more entertaining films.
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. They 100%.
But
I was watching another one recently, and it reminded me of things that happened in part 2. And that's what made me think of it, because the way it was filmed, they had security cameras in the house and did it. And they were going, actually, it was that Life of Bell movie that I was so high on, the new one that isn't out officially yet. But that one reminded me of Paranormal Activity 2 in some aspects, the way it was filmed. So I'm like, I think I want to watch it. But I still have, because I have been watching just so many. I can't stop. I'll add like 5 or 6 to the list, and then I'll hunt them. I'll see if I can find them, and then I'll watch them. Most are on Tubi, actually. And then I'll go on and I'll find 5 more. So that's the other thing I've been doing. So I've been doing the thing with the music, putting together a playlist. I'm putting together a found footage list at the same time. And this is what I do with my time. Yeah. And I just keep adding on. Okay, I'm gonna get to, like, right now I got the list. There's the found footage challenge list. Then I had this one list here. And I'm looking for, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 movies at the top.
I predict a thumb war.
What?
I don't know.
Who?
Don't even worry about it.
French?
No, it wasn't French, and it was barely funny. Well, I thought it was funny because I laugh at all my own jokes, but it was not worth repeating.
I think it's somewhat a thumb war.
You said 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war. Is what I said.
Oh, okay. That is funny. I declare a thumb war. Okay. I think there's something about
But I
On
don't
an
even think I said
M4.
I declare because I was too quick with the joke. I said I predict a thumb war.
Predict.
I think.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you said something about an armoire or something,
Yeah.
like an armoire. What
Yeah.
is that shit?
The curse of
Whatever.
Armoire. The armoire.
Is it an armoire like
Yeah,
a thing?
It's a piece of furniture. Yeah, big armoire.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it French? It sounds
It
French.
sounds French. Yeah. Moi.
Right.
Ah,
I thought you were
yeah,
speaking
it's got
French
a
for a second.
Christian Douar. It's French.
I don't speak French. Yeah, my father said that to that
Yeah.
fucking guy. Sorry, sir, I don't speak French. I love that story.
Where did he
Como
get booed
dit?
off a stage?
Iced tea. White Chocolate West. I don't speak French. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I got these lists and I got like literally right now I have like, look at what is it, like fucking a dozen movies or so, and where I can watch them, and I haven't got to them, but they've made the list. You know what I mean? They've made the list of I'm gonna watch them. Doesn't mean they've made the list, but they've made me. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, this is my
There's
maybe
so many
this is worth
fucking
my
lists.
time. Yeah, I know, right?
There's
out
the
of my
list and
fucking
then the
mind.
list that could watch.
There's the final list. There's this list. There's that. Tubi's got so many of them. It's out of control, man. Holy.
If
shit.
I was to do, I told you, and we've said it before. If we redid the slasher, there would be ones that I left off that I'm like, why did I leave these? And again, I joke like Prom Night 4 would be off to make room for ones that I've watched more consistently, more.
Well, now you got
and then I looked,
Terrifier.
yeah,
another
you
new
got Terrifier 1 and 2 that have been added to that
Right.
list. There's been even Hellfest since then. And these are all ones that I've watched numerous times and would definitely be on there. But even, yeah, for sure. It's almost like we should revisit our lists and see how they've changed. And I
That
wouldn't
could be a
mind doing
fun show.
we've done a found footage show, but I think we did top 20 found footage. I think that was one of ours.
Yeah, we did do a top 10 or a top 20. You're right. We just did a top. You're right. And we named them off. That list definitely changes now for me. I could tell you there's been more, there's been more added on that. So I would do it. I've watched so many. It's ridiculous. I should probably, I don't even know where the hell I left off with these things. That's how many have been watched. Like I don't even know when the last time I talked about them was. That I can't remember. I did talk about that one though, right? Because I think someone mentioned it because I watched it again on Friday night. That Descent into Darkness movie. My European Nightmare. That one, which also, okay.
Yeah. Did you mention this last show? Sorry.
Oh, maybe I did.
No, I could be wrong. For whatever it sounds familiar, I just might.
Well, it goes by Descent into Darkness, My European Nightmare, or this name here, which is the guy's name, Sorgoy Prakov.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyway,
okay.
This movie, this Sorgoy Prakov, depends on where you look it up. If you look it up on Tubi, that's where I'm going to recommend everybody watch it. It's Sorgoi. Okay, go watch it there. You could also watch it on Plex for free under the Descent into Darkness title. Problem is, Plex has way more commercial breaks and longer ones.
Why can't I hear you?
You can't? My mic stopped
Hold on,
working?
I did something here. It's my fault. Bear with me.
Oh.
I scared the shit out of myself, too.
I hope the listeners hear
What
something.
the fuck have I done?
Who knows? He's pressing buttons over there for no reason.
Hold on a second. I absolutely scared the fucking bejesus out of me. You there?
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't even want to know what I did. I was trying to get the movie information up to be ready, to be prepared, and I clicked on something and it on IMDb and it instantly popped up so you were talking and it instantly popped up a preview of the movie, and the sound, because I wasn't expecting it, made me jump out of my skin and I must have hit mute. And I'm like, I can't hear you. I can't hear you because I muted my fucking headphones.
There you go. Okay. All
I'm
right.
so sorry. I apologize.
You can hear. The
Now
listeners could hear.
No. Only me. So I'm just gonna look like a fucking fruit.
Oh, no, that's
Cake.
what no, that's good. So the listeners were still hearing me when I was
Yeah.
talking, just you weren't.
Yeah.
That's okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so anyway.
Sorry, everybody.
Plex, don't watch it on Plex, watch it on Tubi. But they go by different names. If you watch it on Tubi, you got to look it up under Sorgi, S-O-R, or Sorgoi, whatever the fuck the guy's name is.
Sorgoi.
S-O-R-G-O-I. Believe me when I tell you, and I watched it a second time now, this has been my favorite view of anything this year. Better than any 2023 movie.
Really?
Better than, and it's my favorite view up until this date right now. This is the best thing I've watched this year for me.
And what year was it?
For something new, is a first time watch, obviously, not of anything ever. I mean, if I watch The Godfather, you know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's a new view for me. And
when did it initially come out?
2013. Now, I talked about it in our chat, in our group chat. And I want to say For Real watched it. And he only gave it a 7.5. And he gave two other ones, like an 8 and an 8.5, that are on my list that I recommended. So it may be just me. It is a Dave Z movie. It is. It's just my kind of movie. And it goes places. And it's the first time it really hit me hard because I wasn't expecting it. Because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't read the synopsis. So because I didn't read the synopsis, I didn't know where it was going to go. This time, like I watched it Friday with my gang here, and they saw the synopsis, so they were expecting it. And I was like, oh, maybe that takes away from it. Either way, to me, it didn't. It's still great, but I was like, I can't recommend it more. It was fantastic. So
I'll check it out.
What did I talk about? I'm gonna try to go through the ratings of these movies that I watch. Yeah, see that I gave that a 4.5. Town Full of Ghosts, I gave 3.5. These are all found footage movies. Town Full of Ghosts, you could find them almost all on Tubi. It's crazy. Shadim, Shedim, 3.5. Night Shot was done in one shot. I want to say it's French, but it's a one shot fucker. I think it's a one take type of idea.
Yeah.
At least that's the idea of it. And it's just one girl in front of a mic, in front of a camera, and the guy filming, and that's it. Doing this documentary on this abandoned asylum or whatever the hell it is. 3.5. Okay. Lexi, 3.5. That's another one. See, there are, Lilith's Hell, 3.5. Live, 3.5. Live is interesting because it's this girl who joins Facebook Live and starts doing stuff, and then gets tormented by her ex. It's cool. To Jennifer, 4 stars. Watch that. That's a good one. Jennifer.
That's an old one, isn't it? Yeah.
Probably.
I remember this
2013. Again.
Yeah.
It's maybe it's predictable where it's gonna go, but it's enjoyable to see this type of person doing this stuff. And it's just that kind of movie. I give it a 4-star though. Atrocious, 3.5. A movie just called. Go ahead.
We've seen Atrocious. We reviewed it on the show.
This is a different one.
Oh,
this is called Atros Atrocious. Is that the Atros one? Hold on. Yeah. Holy shit. That was fucked up. This is hardcore shit. Atrocious also goes by ATROZ. Atros. It's a foreign movie. 79 minutes. Atrocious is the film that portrays the story of 2 serial killers who, after being arrested for causing a traffic accident, police confiscate some videotapes. These tapes contain brutal murders that show human wickedness, their background, paraphilias, and psyche of the murderers. It's pretty hardcore. There's only like 2 or 3 kills, but you look like you're watching a snuff film. It looks pretty hard. A lot of like gore hounds that just love gore for gore. Love it. For me, like I said, it's 3.5. It's not in the 4 territory, but
yeah,
definitely worth your time. So Atros, 2015. I think that's on. It's somewhere. Otherwise, it was somewhere to stream. I didn't buy it, so it can be found. What else? Found footage. It's just called Found Footage. It's 3.5 stars, and it's from 2011.
Oh, so before the one that came out on Shudder a few years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a serial killer, and we follow what he does. Yeah, found footage. It just happens to be called that. It's a basic title, whatever. A movie called Chess just came out last year, 3.5. Another one called Ghoul. It gets 3 stars. Rossratch, which people seem to love. Yes, Rorsschach. It's from 2015, and 3 stars for me. The Pyramid, 3.5. It's not true found footage all the way, but it's an interesting flick. What else? What else did we watch? Chasing the Devil, 3.5. Evil Things, 3 stars. Rewatch Creep, 4 stars. The Flock was been my low one so far too. So
Flock that.
yep. Blackwater Vampire, 3.5. Check that one out. Jerusalem with a Z, 3.5. A lot of
Oh,
people knew about
I remember
that
that came out. Yeah. That
This
got a
was the
wide
first time I
release.
saw it.
That was got a wide release on Netflix, I think, way
Yeah,
back
Netflix.
when.
I skipped it. There was
Yeah.
something about it that didn't entice me, and it was fine. Alter, 3 stars, just 3. Radder, 4 stars. See, that's making the list. Radder made my list. It was from 2015. Pretty interesting, man, because somebody is recording. That's the one I was talking about earlier, where you find out later on that someone's been stalking and following her through these devices. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Radar made my list. The other one I gave 4 stars made my list, whichever one that was. What the hell was that? Whatever it is. Shoot, to Jennifer. Yeah. Let's see.
With love.
Jerusalem. Yeah. Alter, 3 stars. Radar, 4. Okay. Murder Box, 3.5. Tahoe Joe, 3.5. Apocalyptic, 3.5. That's from 2023. It's also known as Apocalypse Cult, but it also goes by
This is a new one for this year.
No, I'm wrong. I watched it in 2023. I'll be okay. It's 2014.
Done.
2014. Creep 2, another 4-star movie. We knew about that.
Cruise Control.
Encounters, 3 stars. Putrefaction, only 2.5. So you don't have to watch that. A Guidebook to Killing Your Ex, 3.5. That's kind of interesting. Nightmare Code, 3. The Midnight Swim, 3, but some people like it more. So maybe check that one out. The Midnight Swim. 7 Nights of Darkness, 3.5. And then it had a sequel, Toy Box, Devil's Toy Box. I only gave it 3. And that's it. That's where I'm leaving you. So, but there have been movies added to the list.
That's awesome.
And
I-
I've been having fun.
I need some of the updates. Some of the ones that you just said were 4. I mean, because I was doing something here, being distracted, I didn't write them all down. But any that you gave 4, for sure, I want to check out. I have 2 Jennifer. That one I'll remember. But
I hope you like it. It's just it's my kind of movie.
I know.
And
I want to check them out. If you say they're good, I'll check them out, and I'll make my own. I'm not gonna skew you over it. Hey, do you remember?
no, I hear you.
I don't remember if I
It's
brought
tough.
these up on the show before, because I found these in a hidden bin. We have bins all over this basement, and I don't know if I had them out here at one point and showed. Do you remember these Fright Flicks cards?
Oh wow, kind of
They were
remember them.
This was like, they would have like the Fly, and then that was what you
Nice.
collected to try to make the poster. And then they had like, some of them had like the backs to make the poster, and you had to collect them all. I don't know, there's like 100 of them. And they're just scenes from, Day of the Dead, American Werewolf in London,
Nice.
Nightmare on Elm Street, etc. Fright Night. Yeah, I found this is the.
That's cool.
There's 101 cards, because there's the
Look at that. Nice.
first
Ready.
I just found I was like, you got them with a
that's
pack
cool.
of gum.
Right.
Probably got them back in your area. You probably got them from Tops.
There
we
you go.
love
Good old Tops. Yeah, trading cards.
Yeah.
Trading cards at Tops. Oh, those were the days. You get them there. You get them at Wurlitzer Pharmacy.
So
For sure,
yeah, I can't remember if they brought it before, but hey, far be it from our show not to repeat something that we've done before
Yeah.
in the
It could be worse.
Oh,
It could be much worse.
These elastics
That's for sure.
suck. I'm breaking. Anyway, yeah, I just thought I saw those and I'm like, oh, I got to bring those up. That was another thing on the list. But
Nice.
yeah, I watched. I think pretty much I told you what I watched because I watched those found footage ones. I did watch 2 more from 2023 horror films.
Oh, what were they?
Bed Rest.
You watched Nefarious.
Yeah, we talked about it last show.
We did?
Yeah,
Okay.
we did, and I liked it. I
Okay.
said I liked it.
No, I thought I told you about it last show, and then
That
you
was-
said you were going to watch it.
That was 2 shows ago, and then I watched it. We talked about it last show.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Okay. Fuck.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
and
All
then of course the movies for this week.
I've lost it.
And Adopted in Plain Sight. I think you recommended that.
Oh, years ago, a couple
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah.
finally
it's a
watched it.
documentary.
Yeah,
Nice.
my
nice.
wife had watched that, and I was late to the game,
It
so I
was
watched
pretty
that
ridiculous. Man.
one. Caliber. I thought it was new this year, but it just came out on Netflix or Prime or something like that, and it was from 2018. 2 buddies
Okay.
go out in the woods and for hunting in Australia, and they get into a little bit of trouble. And it's not so much of a horror film; it's more of a thriller,
Okay.
but it was really well done. Then the 2 from this year were Bed Rest and Run Rabbit Run.
I thought about both of them. Neither made the final cut. I said, Bed Rest was kind of on the on the wire there, and Run Rabbit Run I kind of excluded pretty quickly.
You know, funny
You
enough,
tell me.
both are ghost stories in a sense. Well, are not in a sense, they're both ghost stories, and both missed the mark. I could see people liking both, no question. I mean, I think we've said there's an audience for everybody here, but Run Rabbit Run was just boring. I thought it was dull. The ending was intriguing, but you kind of piece everything together, so you're just like, okay, get on with it now. And why is it taking so freaking long to get where it needs to go? So that's easy to pass, but well enough made, I guess, if someone wants to check it out. But don't go by my recommendation because I'm not recommending it. And then Bed Rest, how do I word this one? Because kind of generic is the easy way to describe it. Watchable because it's so bonkers in the sense of how ludicrous some of the scenes are that follow, in my mind, that I was laughing at it. I laughed. I watched this one on the plane after writing the script. This is what I watched on the way back, and I laughed out loud like 4 times. Like the guy next to me probably thought I was crazy. And the reason is, part of it is, it's the girl that I think can't act from the new Scream movies, right? The main girl, Sam. She's the actress in this. And again, she does decent in some scenes. And then when her reactions to certain things make me laugh, she just sometimes can't deliver a line to save a life. And I'm not an actor. I mean, I know I can't, but that's what makes me laugh. And they're trying to play this straight and be serious, and you can't help but laugh. Now, they try to do a couple of plot twists here and there and play around with things. So for that, I give it some extra points. But ultimately, I can't say things without spoiling the movie. But there's some things that just happen in that last act that are so off the rails that you have to see it to believe it and experience it. But they're not good. I mean, it doesn't make the movie good. But I mean, there's one thing with something going through a window that had me howling. I rewound it and watched it 3 more times because of how batshit crazy it was, and just an escape. But I do like how they presented it, where, you know, when traditionally it's all in someone's mind, no one else can see it, no one else experiences it. It's almost a little annoying. They at least get off of that, and I mean, it takes the whole movie to get to that point, but they finally get off of that and to kick it up for the climax. So for the climax alone, a mild recommend, but the movie itself is, like, again, for lack of a better term, generic. You've seen it all before, but for a couple of howler-inducing scenes, it's almost worth checking out. But it won't
That's
be
funny,
on. It
man.
won't be on my list for anything. I guess 6 out of 10, maybe.
Yeah. Sounds like I was right to avoid them. So that's good. At least
Yeah.
I've been doing that right this year. Well, not even. I mean, freaking, the year's been so poor that even the ones that I given a chance to, it's just like, well, I guess I was wrong. I'm trying to
Well, I got to get my
open up a
numbers
little
up there.
more. I know, but I'm not gonna. I'm going for quantity, not quality. Quality, not quantity. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm not just gonna
Hey,
continue just to watch it because it came out this year. I know I'm supposed to be
well, we're
considering I'm
the
doing
top of
podcasts.
23, and I've only watched 24 films, and I can't make a
I'm with you.
3 list. Like, so
I can't help it that they're not putting good stuff out, though. What can I do? If it happens, it happens. Maybe we don't do 23. Maybe we go back to 10 like everybody else.
we might have to.
Because of that. We've been talking about it every year. We're going to reach this one point and go back to 10. But usually it's plentiful, and we want to talk about 20 movies. You know what I mean? We want to shine a light on them. So, but it's like the way this year's going, I don't think it's going to. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, and I hope I am. Why would I want to be right when it comes to something like this? I hope that they knock our socks off from here on out. I
hope so.
I don't know what's coming out. Didn't just the new Insidious just come out till like nobody's even talking about it? But again, I understand why they're not talking about it, because 3 and 4 were different, and they didn't have the people from 1 and 2 in it. I believe they had what's her name in it, of course. But I mean, Patrick Wilson and what's her name, Rose Byrne, is that her name?
See, I remember having good memories of 3. I like 1 and 2.
It was fine.
And I remember 3. I watched the Skeleton Key or whatever the hell it is.
I watched the Skeleton Key last week with my wife. I love it.
But part 4 of Insidious is called like the Skeleton Key or something. As a subtitle to it. I can't remember what
I think so.
I watched that once.
The Last Key.
The Last Key.
Yeah, I've never seen it, believe it or not.
Well,
I didn't see it still. And I liked 3, but it just wasn't on the caliber of 1. And 2, don't get me started on 2. 2 was well made.
I know not to.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, this is what happened. The same thing. Anytime you have time travel, for me, it's got to work or it does. I can't just, like, there was a situation, something just happened. Have you been watching Black Mirror by any chance?
Yes, but only so this season I've watched the first 2 because there's only 4 episodes, right?
I think there's 5, but I've watched 3.
I've watched 2 of them.
Did you watch that one, Joan is Awful?
Yes.
It was great until the freaking 3rd act. Then they had this reveal. I'm like, wait, this doesn't work. How, if this equals this, how could this even be possible? This doesn't make sense. Why am I seeing this from this perspective? And why would this be able to be the, and it's kind of like a time travel thing, with not necessarily time travel, but different existences. But I'm watching it and I'm on board for the first 2/3. Then the last act, and it wasn't just me. My wife and daughter too. They got discouraged too by it. Like, okay. So did you have that reaction?
I know what you're talking about.
Accepting it.
I accepted it because I thought it was a really cool idea, but I know what you're talking about. And I think the way that they were trying to get around it is that it's hard to say without spoiling it.
I know.
But we were watching, we had to start somewhere. So to start with that scenario makes the reveals that much more cool. If you just started at ground zero, if you will, it doesn't, there's not much of a story there. So by starting it there and going, why the hell are we going this route? And then for the reveal, I think that's the reason why, as they get down to, fiction level 1 or whatever the fuck it was called now. But yeah, I very intriguing. That was intriguing. And then the one that I started with was actually episode 2 because my wife was watching it and she said, why don't we watch this together? I'm like, sure. And I really like that. The one where he's filming the documentary with his girlfriend with the tapes.
Yes, I did like that one.
Yeah.
Yes, that was good.
Yeah.
The Joel one, the reveal just seemed like they wanted to throw in another reveal just to be clever, just to have a reveal there. And I'm just like, I think they were reaching, I guess is the best way I can put it. So it affected my, whatever.
I get you.
The second one,
I had no clue. I had no clue Black Mirror started in 2011. So it must have not gotten a following then came to Netflix And because I know
Yes.
it's only 6 seasons in, so I thought, okay, it started 6 years ago, and that was the case. When I
Yeah,
realized,
but they skip seasons. Years, I
well, they
should say.
skipped years. Yeah, I know. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I knew that Vince, my buddy, well, Vince, you will know,
Yeah.
loved the show and told Carrie and I to watch it, and Carrie got into it. I was watching it with my daughter, and I never did, not realizing that it is like Twilight Zone, where I don't have to follow it. I can literally put on any episode and be totally fine. So then I was like, oh, this is awesome because I don't have to worry about binge watching it, which is some episodes are an hour and 50, are feature length films in a sense. And then
I
some
know
of
the
them,
one was.
yeah, it's crazy.
The last one
But
we watched was the one with did you see that one with the kid from Breaking Bad? Jesse?
no, is that like, because again, I've only
Okay.
watched 2 from the season.
Okay, that's
So,
the third one then,
yeah.
and it's long. It's fucking long. It's like an hour and 20 minutes, I think. Then, but the one that we're supposed to watch next is like 43 minutes, so it's back to.
So
But that one was
that's the one
interesting
my
too.
wife recommends, the 43. She was telling me to watch that next because she said in her critique, it's 30 minutes of almost nothing and then 10 minutes of absolute batshit craziness.
Interesting. Okay. Hey, as long as it pays off. You
But
know?
yeah,
I
very
don't mind a
interesting
slow
show, but I'm
burn.
very late to the game. Like I just started watching this in the last 2 weeks.
Well, the new season just started a week ago, so
Yeah,
it's-
but
here
ever.
we are.
Like back to I went back to
Really?
season 1 and watched the first 2 episodes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about it on the show. I know that much.
It's been
We
brought
even
up,
talked
but
about the movie.
yeah, I never
Yeah.
there's a movie?
Yeah, that Bandersnatch thing or whatever the hell it was. It was like a choose your own freaking choice. It was kind of interesting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Black
must have
Mirror
zoned
presents. Yeah, it's okay. You could probably still see it. It's on Netflix. I don't have Netflix anymore, so I don't know. I think I have it on MB, but I'm trying to think it was interactive on Netflix. So how could it? I don't know. I'd have to see if it still worked that way. I don't know. Either way.
Let's get into one of our movies at the very least.
Let's do it.
Hey, you wanna bring us in
Do I want to bring it in? Yeah,
to black
what
and
the
white?
hell?
I meant just
Oh.
you seem to have a knack for it.
Oh, I got a neck. Okay, let's see. I got the neck. You got it. Okay, so we're gonna do a 3, 2, 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, with double snaps. 2 snaps up. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
Look at this
perfect.
guy.
That's
Nice.
fucking fantastic.
So you're in. I wish I could do it to me, but I can't. I can only help you apparently.
Yeah. It's
What can I
great.
say?
But here we are.
Here we are.
And this is true franchise. If you didn't think Frankensteins were Friday the 13th or Friday the 13th weren't Frankensteins, here we are at the Ghost of Frankenstein, and nothing can tell you from a franchise standpoint, from the way it clicks along, from everything else. But let me introduce it. The Ghost of Frankenstein, 1942. Dr. Frankenstein plans to replace the brain of his monster. Dr. Frankenstein's plans to replace the brain of his monster are hijacked by a scheming and malevolent assistant, Igor.
Igor.
Directed by Ernest Kinton. Now, the funny part of this, you tell me, like, this one just does everything that we complained about the last one better, in the sense of, like, the last one was an hour and what, 40 minutes?
Oh, was it that long? It was long.
And yeah, and this one was an hour and 7, including credits and everything else. It's bing bang bong done. Now, substance wise, this is where it's just for fun. Like when people describe like a Godzilla movie that I've never gotten into, this one is just fun for fun's sake. I liked it more than Son of Frankenstein, which might be blasphemous. That was a better made movie. This is just more fun, more rewatchability, right from the get-go. And it clicks along. Like you can't, like I said, bing, bang, bang, done.
You know what? Okay. I'm so happy to hear that because literally this is my, okay, hold on. I don't want to give it away, but this is the last note. Can you see my notes here? Hold on.
Well, not well.
Hold on. No, it's coming up. Can you see the last sentence there?
Yeah.
What's it say?
Fun, but not silly. Maybe schlocky.
Yeah. I don't know if it's schlocky or not, but fun but not silly is my opinion of this movie. It was fun. When you said fun, I'm like, that's how I felt. This was fun, but it wasn't goofy. You know, a lot of times people say, "Oh, watch like in modern times," and this is the kind of movies that I don't like. Watch this movie. Oh, that movie's fun, and I watch it. It's Psycho Gorman. It's just too much for me. It's over the top silliness to me. Where this is, I call this movie fun, but it's not silly.
Well,
maybe you could call it schlocky because of some things aren't fully fleshed out, I guess. Maybe.
Well, this would be like the popcorn movie. Like the other ones maybe had a little bit more substance to it. You get to part 4, and now this feels like a Jason's Lives. I know that you don't like Jason's Lives as much as the other ones, but I'm talking about like from this is where you get like, I mean, yeah, we know that Frankenstein was brought to life by lightning, but this one, it's lightning directly hitting the bolt and him like that. This was like Jason Lives. And everybody that complains about Friday the 13th just coming back, the monsters just keep coming back. I've said it here and here, whether it be the Hammer movies or whether it be for these Universal ones. They literally wake up. They explain something. In this case, the townspeople are pissed by the curse of Frankenstein, which this could have even been called as well. That the Frankenstein's curse has plagued their town and whatever, and they figured that the only way that they could get rid of it is by destroying the castle. Kind of like Tommy Jarvis going to destroy the body of Jason is the only way he could rid his memories from the curse that has plagued them. And they go back, they just blow up the castle in a great sequence, and that actually brings Frankenstein back because it takes him out of where he was supposedly killed before and stuck. And he literally just wakes up well, not so spring fresh, but we'll say like late winter fresh. And then Kemp comes outside and Igor's like, no, there's lightning. And he's pushing him away because he wants the lightning to hit him. And the lightning hits his bolt and rejuvenates him. And Frankenstein doesn't wear his stupid Captain Caveman suit or whatever, or fur. He wears traditional, everything that we think Frankenstein should look like. He looks like here.
I got to say, that was a welcome return with the clothes. Now, here's the difference though. When people critique Jason and Michael and that stuff are coming back that way, it's easier to accept here. To me, this is the difference.
Yeah.
This is a monster to begin with. Dracula, Frankenstein. These are already monsters to begin with. They're already supernatural. Jason and Michael are portrayed as human beings. At least Jason is for 4 movies. You know what I mean? So I think in Freddy, yes, he is supernatural, but they made such a big ordeal about the way they dispose of them. You know, like in part 3, it was like, it doesn't get more final than that. You bury the bones in the right land, holy water, the whole thing. To me, that's the end of everything. You shouldn't come back. And the way they brought it back in part 4 begins just to me, ridiculous. And so I think it's, I think you're being unfair if you critique these because of that, because they're monsters to begin with.
Oh yeah, and I'm not critiquing it. I love the simplicity of it. I love that. I love how it literally is like, okay, he was left here. Now you got to assume that there's been a length of time that's passed there. And now this is not the son of Frankenstein that we saw in the last one, correct? This is his brother.
Right. And he's older. So I was a little bit confused. I had to do some research and see what was what. And then he played the ghost of freaking Henry from the first one. Well, the first 2, I should say, which was kind of weird, which I don't even know if they needed that. And the title of the movie is Ghost of Frankenstein. But hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself because I wanted to make something known. Because you were talking about the beginning and his look and how the clothes changed. Here's what I said at first. Okay, Chaney. Now, okay, Lon Chaney's in the movie. Okay,
well, he's Frankenstein. He moves differently. There's definitely a difference.
Looks pretty good though.
Differently than Jason being portrayed by different actors. You can see they all bring a little essence to it, even though it's someone behind a mask. So this is someone behind makeup. There's different body movements that differ again from Lon Chaney's portrayal from Boris Karloff's. Boris Karloff did seem to have the role down to a knack, but Chaney doesn't do anything wrong here.
No,
at all,
no, I like
but
it.
it's just different.
Right. It is different a little, but it's fine. No, I'm just saying I see the Cheneys in the opening credits, and then okay, Lugosi's back, and I'm thinking, didn't that character die at the end of Son? Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. I don't know. But this is what I'm thinking as I see it. Then they talk about destroying the castle. And I'm like, okay, I guess they can destroy the castle because that's the only thing that's standing of Frankenstein, and the villagers want it taken
Yeah.
care of. They're cursed. Okay, that's fine. Basic, easy, whatever. Now here's my funny notes here. First of all, when you see Frankenstein's monster, he looks like he should be on Mount Rushmore at first. You know, that's great. I want to see, they talk about Mount Rushmore horror. It would be so easy just to put that picture in there and include the freaking Frankenstein's monster. There's your Mount Rushmore picture. Looks just like it. It was great. And then my note is this: please keep him white. When he first came out and he was white like
Racist
that,
son of a bitch.
I know. I knew you were going to say that, but the way he looked was
Powder,
great.
baby,
I'm like,
powder covered.
dude, that is scary. Imagine that coming at you. To me, that looked more scary than Frankenstein. I said, please keep him this way.
And washed
then-
off Frankenstein.
But then my next note is, well, I'm happy to see him now because
Yeah.
he just looks better. He doesn't have that freaking, like you said, the last movie with that fur. You know what I mean? And Chaney looks good. He looks just like Lugosi's Frankenstein. You know?
It's all, and they bring it back to that innocence when they get into the town and there's the little girl and he just wants to help her get her ball, and that townspeople mistake him, and then you feel bad for him again, even like Lugosi saying like, you promised you wouldn't hurt him and whatever, and then they get him, and then having him chained up in the jail cell or in the town hall. It's like on display there.
It's kind of comical. Like it's like seeing that's in a courtroom LOL, but it's not funny. It's not played as funny. It's very serious in the movie, but to look at it, it's funny. It's almost like when you see Michael Myers at the end of Halloween 5 in the jail cell.
Almost like, it looks like he's twiddling his thumbs in the jail cell with the chains on him. It's very much like that. And again, I even thought of I thought I brought this up last episode. I thought of Halloween 5 again when they toss the dynamite as in to blow up the castle. It's almost like they like when you really look, you can see a little bit more parallels to some of the well, not so modern anymore, but the slashers that we're talking about that we grew up with, that have the inspiration came from here. But yet, even back in '89, it was laughable. Yet, it was they could have Frankenstein chained up in town hall or in the police station, no problem there, almost like it's a court scene, and get away with it, and they did. And then he breaks out of his chains when he realizes that his master doesn't or pretends that he doesn't recognize him or whatever.
Why?
It's not his master.
It's not.
And it's not even it's so weird. It's like the blood of Frankenstein just makes the monster know that he's in the presence of his creator or something like that. I guess
so. See, that was the thing, because he didn't seem to care about the Frankenstein in Son. Pardon me, not Son.
Yeah.
Or wait,
Son.
this is Son.
No, this is Ghost.
In Son. Yeah. Okay, there you go. He didn't care about the one in Ghost or in Son. So why does he care about this one? So that was a little, I don't know, off-putting, I guess, but no big deal. It's again, Halloween. The connection to this, and I just realized that this has been a critique that we've said about the Halloween series, that they feel the need to go back to the family thing.
Yeah, always.
Family. Well,
another brother.
That's what they do here.
I know. Another brother.
They did it here first. They keep tying the monster up with a family member, with a Frankenstein.
And there is a Ghost of Frankenstein. The actual title makes sense in the sense of one of the worst special effects sequences ever. It seems like it's out of an Ed Wood movie, to be honest, where he comes in and he's like a dissolve, and they don't even have him walk. They just pan the camera, so he just floats almost like this, like me, woo.
Just a head. Yeah.
It's so bad. And so it's supposed to be the real Frankenstein coming back in ghost form to tell his son to I'm forgetting, even though if it was to go through with it, or whatever.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the whole goal was that he wanted to put a tamer brain in. When he to take the abnormal part out, but then they put Bela Lugosi or Igor's brain into there, and he talks again. He talks like Igor at the end.
Yes, which was cool. Now but why did that happen? But first of all, Ghost. When the ghost shows up, I understand it's ridiculous that all of a sudden he's talking to a ghost and not thinking anything of it. But whatever, you just go with it.
Yeah,
and he says,
you really
do what I. But here's the reason. The reason is because this Frankenstein now, they've just discovered that they can do a brain transplant where medical science they could not do a brain transplant when Henry did the first one. So now he's saying, okay, you had investments now that I didn't have, so you can do this. So I get that. Now here is my question. Okay, let's go to that. Why did Igor get that other doctor to put his brain in the monster instead of the other doctor that passed away? What was he getting out of it?
He convinced him that he would be an unstoppable monster and that he would do all of his bidding for him.
His billing, his
bidding, all of his shit for him.
Okay. Okay. That's one question. That
was a lure, but yeah.
That's fine. Here's the second. Why did everybody in the town suddenly turn on good Dr. Frankenstein, who hadn't done anything wrong and he wasn't a shady character? They didn't even know he was related to these Frankensteins. They wasn't even discussed. He was a respected doctor in this place that was doing good work. How come at the end of the movie they decided because to blame everything on him and make him a bad guy?
The doctor went missing. They couldn't figure out where he went. And none of that was playing out based on what they said they were going. The monster is missing, or they know held captive in his thing, and they're not too happy about that.
How do they know in his place?
Well, they assume.
They just jump to it. That's what I'm saying. They're like, it was a monster apparently.
And then Igor is still around. And they're not fond of him. So it was a combination of those things. But I like the fact they bring the angry townsfolk back.
Me too. I just couldn't figure out why. I thought he was a respected doctor there. See, again, another Mel Brooks Young Frankenstein tie-in. Basically, the part that Gene Wilder's playing in Young Frankenstein is this one. He wants to distance himself from everybody else. And I guess for whatever reason, wherever they are in this movie, which I guess isn't Germany anymore, they don't say, but nobody knows about the monster and no one knows about the Dr. Frankensteins of the past for some reason. In this movie, except for the townspeople in the beginning.
Frankenstein. In the town of Frankenstein.
Yes, in the town of Frankenstein. Right, now it's the town. So, but where does this take place?
Elsewhere. I can't remember.
Yeah, I guess, right?
Because it starts in the town, and that's where they blow the cow, and then they leave. And it always seems like they're a hop, skip, and a jump away from the next town that seems to know nothing about the town right next door to them.
They just don't know about Frankenstein, and that's odd. You would think that they would know. You'd think that'd be something that people knew about. So this is the problem. See, this is my problem with the movie, that part there.
It's no different than mom and daughter jogging in the beginning of Friday the 13th, the final chapter, when the psycho is gone missing from the morgue and everything else. Like, you figure everybody would be under lock and key. Like, we've argued this until we're blowing the balls about the police. There's police presence between 2 and 3, but not that many for essentially a mass murder, and then that Harold getting killed and whatever. There's 3 cop cars. You figure they'd be like, nobody's coming through here. No more campers, no more vacationers. This is being cordoned off and whatever. They just allow it. It's a simpler time. They didn't overthink the script. They're just playing it. And now we're talking about 50 years beforehand, or 40 years beforehand in this case. So I think it was just script convenient, simple. We just get the point across. They're here for the monster and the thrills, and really they deliver on that. And they did a great thing by cutting down the running time and just having it clicking along. Like, it's like we started with. It's simpler but way more fun than the last one that almost took itself too seriously.
Right.
Again, better made. It looked better. The last one, like I said, with the mise en scène, like the cinematography of the last one was definitely top notch, and this one is just a regular movie. It was almost like let's crank them out now. Let's make this is going to make us some more money, and let's get these out and done.
Well, see, once again, a better made movie doesn't mean better movie.
Exactly.
See, and this is the fucking proof in the pudding right here. This is what I try to say when people don't seem to understand when something's better made, it means that it's a better movie. No, it's and this movie is not as well made. Although I will say that I do like the score, I do like the sets, I like the new low key laboratory with those different bells and whistles, because you know in real life at this time they're able to do different things with electricity, and you know they have like those toys that you could have now, like that you'd see at like the science museum or something. They're kind of cool. They had those lights and the stuff going on, and I kind of dug that little setup. It was simple. You know what else is weird? I always thought in my brain that the swap, or I thought that Bride of Frankenstein, that she was created through his brain, that there was a transplant to create her. I don't know why, but that actually happened here.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that came from.
Get out.
I don't know. Didn't they do that in Young Frankenstein as well? They did do a swap at the end, and that's why the monster was able to put that man down.
Yeah.
See, so Young Frankenstein, think about the fucking genius of it. Mel Brooks took elements of the first 4 movies.
And maybe more. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So far,
there's
in
elements.
Young Frankenstein. If anybody is a fan of these movies, of Universal horror, and has not watched Young Frankenstein, you're doing yourself a disservice, because somebody loved.
Almost wish there was one more that we could do and add a Young Frankenstein in. With maybe another Hellraiser will pop up without us knowing.
Yeah, again, imagine that direct-to-video Hellraiser all of a sudden. But yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I did enjoy it. That little girl is so cute. The way she talks to him and everything else. It's such an adorable little girl. Hey, buddy, come on. And speaking of adorable, look at this guy.
Just so much fun. And Bela Lugosi gives another good performance as Igor.
Yes. He's great. How about that Lugosi? He does the Draculas. He comes in the Frankenstein. He does these two. You know what I mean? So
it's almost sad that he ended up the way that he ended up, but
they all did, right? Lon Chaney. What happened with Karloff? Obviously, he's not here. So I mean, there goes that. He must have been dead.
Know.
I didn't look it up. Right. The other Frankenstein, the original doctor, gone. The Basil Rathbone. What happened to him? He was in
the last thing that isn't the last thing that Karloff did. Like, wasn't he like the narrator for The Grinch Stole Christmas?
He was.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas? Yeah.
So why the hell would he be in this? Why wouldn't Karloff be the monster?
He gave up the monster after Son. He didn't want to be typecast. So he did it 3 times and then just said he wanted to do it. So he's not even in Abbott Costello or anything else.
I know that.
Kind of distanced himself. So, but I thought that maybe being in an Abbott Costello film would have maybe prompted him to want to come back to do it again. But now I'm going blind, because other than Abbott Costello, I haven't seen the House of Frankenstein or House of Dracula in the series. So that's going to be interesting. But this was a lot of fun. And again, I will equate that to a very short, easy to digest running time as well. I know we say that on the show a lot, and some people might be just confused as to why, but again, older film, short running time, just easy you're in and out. It's like watching an episode of TV. Done.
Yeah, no, it works. I'll just look at my notes here. What else haven't I said? Another Young Frankenstein character. Oh, but calm dad. Did you realize how calm the father was at the beginning when the guy had his daughter way up on the freaking thing, and they thought maybe he was going to throw him, and he goes, "Isn't that your daughter up there?" And he says, "Yes." Yeah. I'm like, okay, I would have been.
Well, he's come. He's like, oh, I hope they don't do anything to her or whatever. And then the other part I forgot to mention when the Ghost of Frankenstein shows up is that they had to do this in old movies where he's like, your father have come back here. Like he had to tell him that he was his dad.
Right. I know.
So that the audience knew that's
they had to
that's
catch
the
up the
Frankenstein.
audience.
Yeah.
They even had a recap scene. They did an old school Friday the 13th recap here.
Yeah.
They did a little montage scene when they showed them digging them up in part one.
When she's reading the diary. And yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that was funny. That was cool. What else? You did score on the sets, the recap. There you go. I'm surprised it knocked Frank out. Oh, yeah. When they gassed him, I thought for sure that everybody was going to get gassed except the monster. Because I'm thinking, well, he doesn't really have lungs.
Well, that was the other thing.
Does.
The monster gets gassed, but he's not. He's supposed to be dead again. So I did comment on that. I was laughing at that because of the comment we made before of last episode of the episode before about needing to draw breath, and he doesn't breathe. He's dead. But I guess they're saying he's from the dead, but when they brought him back to life, he resumes. He has normal functionality.
Well,
gonna get a heart on.
What's weird? In the same franchise, in the same movie, they talk about how they can't kill Igor because they've already hung him once, so it counts. So you can't put him to death twice when they've already put him to death once. So there's two instances of somebody being dead. Well, not really dead though, when they're not supposed to be. I wonder if they did that for a reason, just to talk about, you know what I mean, just mankind's mortality and the beast's mortality. I don't know. Just piece that together. I don't know. What else? The reverse smoke thing was really cool when they brought the smoke back for that gas chamber. They put it out, and then the way it was shot, that was cool. Yeah. I like the piece by piece idea because literally I thought it when they said it. They go, "How do you kill him?" And I thought to myself, "Why not just take him apart piece by?" And then the guy said it. Yeah, piece by piece. I'm like, oh, there you go. See that's smart. Then the guy gets all upset. It's almost like a political debate when they get into the thing. Well, how can you take it away? This is God's creation, or it's not God. Remember they get it. It was almost like a freaking abortion debate or something. It was a little funny. And then the ghost comes in. Cool how the brain surgery can save, improve science stuff. Yeah. I like the lab lights and the toys. God bless you, Universal. That's what I said. Oh, I know why. This is why I say God bless you, Universal. Because I stopped the movie. The TV shut itself off. Because if my stuff goes dormant for a while, it goes on the screensaver and then it'll shut off. And then I came back, turned on the power. I was like, oh man, I'm in the middle of this movie. Then I turned the power on my Blu-ray player. And the movie, when Universal comes on and you see the thing go across the screen, Universal, the first word that you see in the bottom left corner is resume movie. God bless you. People could say whatever they want about boutique labels and this and that and the other thing, and this is corporate Universal. At least Universal gives you I would rather spend $40 on a piece of shit freaking movie from the 80s, as long as if it got shut off, I could resume where the hell I left it off. That to me, that's the most important feature you could put on a Blu-ray is that resume. It
is weird that when it doesn't have it. I'll agree with you.
They never have it.
It's crazy.
Right. But they never have it. And it's so freaking like you're backwards. All those years of DVDs, you'd start the DVD and it would pick up where it left off. Now we transition to Blu-ray and 4K, and they've somehow lost that ability to freaking have the resume in most cases. It makes no sense. It's like sending somebody to the moon and all of a sudden, well, we can't do this now. I don't know. It just, I don't get it. How do you lose the option when you've already technology has already come that far?
It's so weird, to not have it. I don't understand it either. You're right.
It's always bothered me. So yeah, God bless you, Universal. Thank you for doing this. Say what you want. The promise of life forever. Yeah, that was cool when he was talking about that. Why live? How could I live a life like this when I know I can live forever? So death is better than that, Igor. That was good. And just like the line that he said, the other one, which reminded me of the Skeleton Crew, because they were joking about it then when he says, we could rule the state, or even the whole country, or something like that.
No, the best line, and it's hilarious, because he goes blind, right? Because there was some malfunction where the brain didn't recognize, Igor's brain didn't recognize. It goes,
Right.
What good is a brain if I cannot see?
Yes.
What good is a brain if I can't, or if I have no eyes? It was either what good is a brain if I have no eyes, or what was good as a brain if I cannot see.
Right.
Either way, it was hilarious. He says it twice, and that was like the downfall of it. And he throws like the doctor that put Igor's brain into the machinery, and he
Yep.
gets electrocuted.
Chemical fire just from
Yeah.
bottles falling.
And then
Immediately the bottles fell.
Bottles fall and explode. Yeah. That's a good like an 80s action movie where like a car just hits the ground and it blows up or whatever it may be.
That's what I was thinking. Immediate fire. Boom. But they always got to have it fire. It's almost like
That's
what
the
do you call it?
climax.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's Argento with freaking Suspiria and Inferno. There's got to be a fire at the end.
I don't
Oh,
even know,
man.
other than the one doctor dying, does anybody actually die? I mean, he knocks that guy off the cliff, which
Two people in the beginning.
yeah,
I know that.
it's kind
Because
of,
they mention them. This is the one that killed so and so. They said two
Yeah.
names, but it
Yeah.
happened so quick. You know.
it's a lot of like just him beating people off and then them fighting or falling to their deaths or whatever.
Beating people off and then falling to their deaths.
Beating people off.
There's a worse
Anyway.
way to go.
7.5. 7.5. Enjoyable film.
I say 7. So we're
Yeah.
in the same area. We're in the same area. So
Well,
wonderful.
You
So
gonna
there you
take
go.
us out now?
Yeah, I'm gonna take us out. Hold on. Let's see if I can do it on both. This is the true test. Can
Yeah.
I do it on both at the same time? And then we shall see. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's try to work some magic and then say 3, 2, 1.
Hey,
Look at that, huh?
you did it.
That's some skills. That's some skills right there. All right.
It is some
So
skills.
summer sausage.
Here we go again. Another round, another link, as we like
Yeah.
to say in this
Yeah.
fucking series. Hellraiser Deader, 2005. Again, directed by Rick Botta. A journalist uncovers an underground group who can bring back the dead and slowly become drawn into their world.
The Boda bag himself.
The Boda bag. And I'm going to tell you this. This is my favorite one so far of the sequels.
Yes.
I like this way better. Well, wait, let me rephrase. I like this better than the last two. No question. The last two I had hovering at 5.5 and whatever. It was probably being even a bit generous in a sense. And I know what they were trying to go for and whatever. This one felt more like a real movie. Still had that direct-to-video vibe, but
Yeah, that 90s vibe, even though
Yeah,
it's
but-
2000s.
yeah.
But it has that
but
look.
it fit into the realm. Like I feel like it had a definitive beginning. Not that the other ones didn't. We are following this woman around like we followed the guys around, but this one seemed like she was an investigative reporter, like reporting on these cool things. Like they set it up better, and it just felt it separated itself from the other ones and had more Pinhead. Not even a lot more. Like he
Right.
pops up a couple of times, and then they're there in full Cenobites with his other two cronies at the end. But it felt
Right.
like it had the gore that although each one had some gore, I'd say that Inferno was gorier than Hellseeker. Again, my memory, and this one felt like it was gorier than both of them. But it's not super gory, but at least it's
No.
back.
Correct. And much like the Frankenstein movie, I'm just gonna overlook the whole thing about the Deaders and
Yeah.
what they're doing and exactly how it connects to Pinhead, where he's kind of upset about it that they're doing something and what. I don't need to get that deep into it. I guess maybe
Yeah, they're
when I watch it again, maybe it will come clearer because I will watch it again. Of course, this is the second time, but Kari Wurr is everything. I
She's-
just want to watch.
she's an attractive woman, no
my
question
girl.
about it.
I have
uh,
loved her. Do you still not know who she is, or did you see her and go?
She was
"Okay, I know her"?
familiar. she's familiar, and then I looked at IMDb and I know that I've seen some of the things that she's been in the past, but I would have never, I didn't know her name, and I would have never guessed. It would have been like, she looks familiar, and then looked her up
Okay.
the usual way. But
Well, I came up with her. This is the thing about me and Kari. This is why, for me, she's special to me.
me and Kari.
Well, this is the thing. She's probably on my top 10 or 20, like, crushes of all time. From me, that's saying something. But the thing is, with her, when I was in 1987, I'm like 15 years old. And she's on the show Remote Control on MTV, the game show. And she's part of it. And I'm 15 and she's 20. And I think she is just stunning and hot and just sexy. Right off the bat, I'm like, Kari, sing along with this and this, and here's Kari. Anyway, you're like, woo, we're so happy to see Kari. And she, at the end of the episode, when the credits are rolling, she would always be sitting there talking, and she'd always have these great outfits on, kind of revealing sometimes and everything. I was just so sprung on her since jump. And then she went away for a bit. She did a couple movies I wasn't aware of. Then the next time I recall seeing her, now you got to remember, I'm 15, she's 20. She kind of helped make a man out of me. You know what I mean? So I'm all out of this. I'm paying attention to Kari. I'm telling you that much. So now she pops up again on 90210 in the final couple episodes of one of the seasons. I think season 3. And she hooks up with David. David cheats on Donna with her the first time he ever cheated on her. After they didn't have sex down on David. She was freaking staying abstinent and freaking did. And David never got laid, the whole thing. For 3 years, he waited and waited and waited. And then he finally freaking couldn't take it anymore. And who did it take for him to freaking break down this character named Ariel, played by, when she showed up on the screen, I said, that's Kari. I couldn't believe it. Then it was revealed the next season, because this was like towards the end of the season, that Kari, not Kari, not her, that Ariel gave David crabs. And I remember saying at the time, I don't care. I would still, to this day, if someone said you're going to get crabs if you sleep with Kari, we're okay. Anyway, I love Kari, and I always have, and I knew she was in this, and I saw it before. I knew she still looked pretty great. And, she actually, I want to say it was right before this. I could be wrong. I better not say that. This is 2000, right?
Yeah. 2000.
Okay.
2005.
Okay. Oh, that's right. It is 2005. Okay. Oh, it's 2005?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did I think 2000? Okay. That's what changes. Okay. She had gotten breast implants at one point, and now they're gone. You could tell in this movie that she had them removed. But she was doing a couple movies that were borderline Skinamax. Most of her career wasn't, but there were like 3 or 4 movies in like her, I don't know, 40 or 50 titles that they were like that. And they were she was involved in some sexual scenes on Cinemax and some erotic thrillers. But, and then she got implants and everything. But she got them removed. She got married, and I think in 2002 or 3 or something like that.
Way too much. You way too much about her.
I do know way too much about her. I've always been into her, but having her in this movie is everything, because it's so easy for me to follow along with her, because she's almost distractingly hot to me. So, and I can't help it. I've just always loved her. So, I'm watching her. She's easy to follow. She looks great. She's a great screamer. She does a pretty good job. I'm not saying she's the greatest actress, but
she delivers most of her lines, because some of these lines are ridiculous. And then, one time she'll say something and I'm like, oh my God, that wasn't delivered that great. And then she'll follow it up. I'm like, but that one was. It's like when she was on the table and they're holding her down, just like, why are you doing this to me? And then whatever. But then she goes, and then her next line, she delivers perfectly. So it's like, it's fine for the type of movie it is. She's totally passable, and I noticed it more in the second view and whatever. But I enjoyed it. It's I like how they introduce it. So you could tell she's a journalist that gets into her work almost like an undercover detective, if you will. She lives the life to expose it and or an expose on it. One of them being the very direct title of How to Be a Crack Whore.
I love that.
Now, what I want to know, though, so this is just from a story structure standpoint. We wake up. Now, she looks like she's in a crack house.
She is. She's doing heroin.
So
Yeah.
she got
Well,
into
she's
that
not doing
character.
heroin.
Yeah, but
Right.
she got into the character and she leaves with the tape in her hand, meaning
Mhm.
she just kind of finished this. She walks, am I not mistaken, into like to work where
Yeah.
she's late for a meeting, goes through it, sees that the How to Be a Crack Whore article has been
Mhm.
published. So is this supposed to be an ongoing series and there's still ones that haven't been complete? Because
That's my
it's she
idea.
literally just left the place and they already have it in
Right.
print over here. So that was the only, I'm assuming you're supposed to get the idea that it's an ongoing thing. But question,
That's how I reasoned it.
yeah. And
You
it came
know?
out the second time. Didn't even think about the first time. First time I was totally fine
Oh,
with
I
it.
thought it right away. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is the future.
That's a
Oh.
very quick turnaround time of that article.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
guessing it's just it's an ongoing thing that she's already started, and this is the next chapter. Or
And
something.
then
How to
and then
be
the
a
guy
crack
that she
whore.
works with and knows that how she is because they worked together in the past and maybe been romantically involved. I don't know if they get to that, but anyway,
Maybe.
he wants her to take on this Deader story. Shows her a video that intrigues her, and that gets in. So it's kind of cool how they introduce it. All legit and all works out quite well. Now I think that they're just trying to link the guy that's the head of this Deader cult to Pinhead in a sense. Like he wants to be the all powerful, and Pinhead's the all powerful. And to be the all powerful, he needs someone to work that magic box, but he doesn't want to
Mhm.
do it. So he sends little like his minions out to do it. So it's that girl, that Maria girl, that she ends up going and finding dead in the hotel. And that's where she's grasping onto the box. She gets the box, she opens it, and that's why this leader says he wants her to continue. So that's the connection with Pinhead and the guy. I think it's just that
Mhm.
he's trying to make his minions do the work because he wants to be the leader of it all. And Pinhead's like, no, that's my gig type thing.
Yeah, I could buy that. That's something because they said he owned his soul anyway. So why would he? But why would he let him take it that far? And why did Kari have to be the piece to change everything? They do say something to it. Again, I just go with it.
It's just a minion
this
opened the
case.
box so that he didn't have to open the box. That's why that other woman did it
Yeah.
and became so it's like it distanced himself so he's not the one. And I think that's it. He's just trying to manipulate them so that they'll do the wrongdoing and bring them. But then when they come, again, most of these have been written just to get another installment out, as we well know.
Well, let me ask you.
There was enough here that I was like, okay, I like it. But if you deep dive into that, yeah, you might be able to say, well, why this, why that? But ultimately, I think the essence is what I just described.
For sure. And same thing. I'm going to say it again. How do you imagine this story without the box and without Pinhead?
No, this
How are you
one,
going to tell me?
this one I don't think was. I think this one was written as a Pinhead one.
I do too.
I didn't read up on it. I could do that quickly. Well, but this one, I think from the get go was like, okay, we're going to do another one, and so this one was specifically a Hellraiser sequel.
Okay, well that's just fine. Then good. I'm glad to hear that you agree on this one. Then the other ones were questionable, but it just excuse me. You know what it reminded me of when she went to that house was I got Frank vibes from part one. Remember when she went to that woman's house, that Marla, and he went in that room and the key opened it up and the guy let her in and there was cockroaches and old food and everything.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't it remind you of like Frank when they first showed up to the house when Frank was there last and he had the bed just there, the mattress. Same type of thing in the beginning of the opening stuff of Hellraiser, honestly, the first movie. So I thought they had a little of that going on. They took it back a few other times with some of the musical stings doing the boom type thing. Not exactly. And I really, really wish that is the one thing
that would have done
that
it.
Could have really affected this whole franchise.
I know where you're going.
They could have kept that Christopher Young score throughout the whole thing.
For sure.
But it added so much to it, right? I mean,
for sure.
Especially the last two prior to this, they had that. Yeah.
This one would have been perfect for it. And I do stand corrected. This one, again, the original script was written by Neil Marshall Stevens as an unrelated spec script, which was then rewritten by Tim Day as a Hellraiser film. But again, they took the essence of the script, probably about these deaders, and then they had an idea, a reporter looking into it, and whatever. And then I'm not, so it was there, but then it was totally rewritten to be a Hellraiser movie, just like the
Yeah.
other ones. So when I say they didn't just wedge them in, well, in a sense, that's what they were doing, but in the other ones, but they were still rewritten to say, okay, well, instead of a demon force here, it will be the Cenobites or whatever it may be. This one didn't feel quite so pushed or forced. So I guess, again, there was they had the Deader script, kept that idea, and then just incorporated the Hellraiser world into it more. But it works. It works.
Yeah, it wouldn't have left the ground as is. That's the problem. Like, there's a reason that they were just sitting there, because there's something missing. It's just like, what are you gonna have the story about Deaders? Who wants to watch something like that? I just don't. I don't know. I don't get it. I just think it wouldn't have left the ground, or if anything, it would have been some direct-to-video movie that nobody saw. So I just think that people cheapen the movie when they try to. People that discredit this franchise as it goes and say, "All those other movies, they're not even Hellraiser movies. They were something else, and they just wedge Pinhead in there." It makes it sound so bad, and these aren't so bad movies. That's what bothers me, is that people they immediately cast them off as saying that they're sorry movies or something without. It's just like one of those things. It gets momentum, and the hate wagon begins, and then everyone just thinks that it's. People can be so condescending sometimes about things like that when they dismiss something. It's like, no, man, without Pinhead and the box and the story here, you're not going to watch it. I mean, either way, I don't mean to keep harping.
I mean, it was
just
no, you're right, and it was filmed in 2002 and in shelf or not shelf. It was shown at a couple of film festivals, said, but it didn't really get released, as we will know, until 2005. But it's funny because I don't find this nearly as like sort of, I don't know, structured in such a way that was off-putting to me as like the last two. This felt a little bit more like it had a little bit more of life into it. So I don't. Again, I'm one of those that have dismissed the sequels as typically being on the bad side. And again, 5.5 for the last two are not necessarily great ratings. And this rating is not going to be astronomically high,
right.
But this one feels like it has more rewatchability to it for some reason. Like when she goes to that, well, her, but the structure of it, like the investigative reporting, instead of the guy just going into this bizarre labyrinth of hell but not done in a way that was entertaining in the last two, kind of like this one, at least there's something there that keeps you kind of glued to the screen a little bit more so. And I'm not saying it, but it's not a long movie. It's just shy of an hour and a half, but it clicks along. It's enjoyable. And then in the last 10 minutes, you get Pinhead and Cenobites.
Yeah, no, I enjoy it. I think, like I said, I like the Frank vibes you get when she first goes to that place. I like that tense scene with the dead girl, because you just have a feeling she's going to come back to life. It's just creepy. You're doing this. She looks dead, and she's reaching over for that tape, and there's a little bit of tension there, which we haven't really seen too much tension. Like, okay, that's cool. I enjoyed that. I gotta say something that's no good. Is in some, not in all cases, actually in the finale, when they do the thing at once and they have a big chain go through a bunch of people on both sides, and that looked fine, but some of the fucking CGI was just fucking awful. The beginning, the first time you see the stuff come out, and the fake chains coming out of the box, it is so bad. But I mean, it's for the time. I get it. Luckily, it wasn't awful at the very end, but there were a couple in those bugs in that one scene, cockroaches.
Yeah, they show the hole. I mean, it's possible. Like they show the hole that one guy,
takes you out of it a bit,
and he's looking down at it.
Yeah, the hole. I didn't like that either. Yeah, but it's too much. But
there was gore, and I enjoyed it for what it was. The when she gets turned into a deader, so they stab her, and essentially she then has like this knife. Through her back and out the front.
That stuff's cool. The bloody bathroom and all that shit.
And her pulling the knife out, like it's gory and it's effective.
100%. No, I dig that. The bloody bathroom, the freaking. She's a great screamer. Actually, I never realized that she hasn't done a whole lot of horror when she played that type of role, but she was really good. Here's a question: why did that girl, Marla? Why on the tape? did she send him to the guy to meet the guy on the train to find out where the debtors were?
So,
Wasn't she
yeah,
already a debtor
I
herself?
know. I think that's
Why
just
wouldn't
the
she
way
just
these
send him
movies
there?
work. It that I agreed with that. I've noticed that more the second time as well. Just going about like why not just send her directly to? It's almost like these always have to have a pit stop to somewhere else, so you get to
Yeah.
introduce that. So in this case, we get introduced to this magical train that is on the regular tracks but stops, and you go into like someone's meeting room, which is like a nightclub train, and there's women, of
Right.
course, like licking each other and this, that, and the other
Crazy
thing.
scene.
So
Yeah.
it's an enjoyable sequence, but does it have to exist other than to meet that one guy? I think he's supposed to meet that one guy, but I don't even know what weight he brings to it because he already seems to be aware of them. And you're right. Why
Well,
couldn't there be a direct link to the other guy?
I think I figured it out just now. Because at the end, he's revealed to be a debtor. He's in on it. So I think
Yeah.
that she opened the box,
He's the
right?
one that looks
This
at
is
the
all
CGI hole. Yeah. Yeah.
right. She opened the box, and then now we're on the trip with her, just like with the last two. So what I think happened is when she goes on that bus and meets them, and the guy says the same thing. He says something about towards the end. He says something about uh, uh you got to know when to get off the train, and I don't either, or something like that. He says she doesn't know when to get off the train, and neither does he. So I'm thinking that train doesn't really exist. You know what I'm saying? He's a debtor, and then remember it's revealed that everyone on the train is dead at one point.
Yeah.
So I think it's something like that, and I'm just figuring that out now. And I like the way he says that we're all just puzzle
in the
pieces.
dream world. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think she opens the box and then enters that world, just like in the other ones. And this is just her trip. Ultimately, it isn't the same reveal, it isn't the same ending, but I think that's what it is. And I like when they go into the I like that they say, don't think for 1 second that you're not in danger. He says it earlier when he
Yeah.
first comes out, Pinhead.
Yeah.
And then the other guy says it later, the leader of the Deadites, I was going to call them, the debtors.
Well,
and,
I was so glad that they didn't do the thing with, like, if it was one of the other two movies, that guy would have been Pinhead in
100%.
human form, and he would have turned
Right.
into Pinhead at the end. I'm so glad
Yes.
they didn't do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right. I agree with that. That's much better that it wasn't him, because I was thinking, is this what's gonna happen? Because I forgot, but I'm like, well, wait a minute. But I like the whole thing with her background and the abuse and what's going on there, which it starts off slow, but then it goes like, full in on the end, and then you try to figure all that, like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, this is what's going on here. I like when Pinhead does talk, because he does those Jesus quotes like he does in part 3, kind of, which I like. Is as goofy as part 3 was. I like when part 3 isn't a total. It's not every one of these movies. I take something from it. Some better than others. But even though I talk a little trash about 3, I do like when he goes into that mode. Like
Part 3 is just a departure from the feeling of the first two, but I used to really dig it because something about Anthony Hitchcock's movies that he did at the time, I just was into, like Waxwork 1 and 2, the Hellraiser 3, there was another Full Eclipse or whatever. Like they just were good, but they're kind of fluffy, and I think that was it. And the interjection of comedy didn't really work that well.
Those Cenobites, yeah.
But there were still some good things to take away from it. Like still some fun to be had.
Yes. How about this is Stan Winston produced?
Yeah. There was something in the breakdown of why he was involved with it. But yeah, Stan Winston presents. I guess he had some involvement. And I like how they didn't use it was just straight good old fashioned credits. One on black, no twisting.
Yes.
Twisting puzzle box or anything else. It was just it stands on its own. And I was like, so right out of the gate, I was like, this is a little bit more refreshing than the other two. It's just fairly generic. And this naturally felt like it incorporated the Cenobite aspect and the Pinhead aspect better than the other two. Just, I don't rinse and repeat. I'm just regurgitating the things I said already, as I sometimes do when we review these things, but it's just because I guess the experience was not so positive for the last two, and I'm
Right.
not blown out of the water with this.
Well, of course
Like,
not.
but it's just it's much more passable than than what I think a lot of people give credit to. So
That's fair. I kind of love the reveal that we get to, and then I like the part again. It's a part one thing where she takes the what do you call it? The box and says "Go to hell" and throws it, and then he yells "No," and that's what happened in part one. Except Pinhead was the one that yelled "No." But a couple of little things like that, and the whole toy maker thing comes back. I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
about okay, you're the descendant of the toy maker.
bloodline.
Right. They tie that in, so which is why it would kind of be fraudulent for him to claim this, because he's not the one that did this. He's the one he's part of the toy maker, but it's not the, you know what I mean? I get what the hell they're saying. Then he's like, what the hell did he say? He goes, oh, nobody owns me, or I own everything in the box. I thought I even wrote it. Damn it. I'm pretty sure I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't. Damn, that's weird. But he says something about the world and everybody, you own what's outside the box, but I own everything in it. Or something about, this is what he says. He goes, you think that you belong the box. You own the box. He goes, but we belong to it. That's what it was. It was something. Because here's what he said. He goes, you think that the box belongs to you, but we belong to it. That's what he said.
I saw he said the world, Chico, and everything in it. No, that's a different movie.
Yep, close though.
That was Scarface for anybody out there.
How about the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff that was going on?
Imagine Pinhead did say that. Pinhead, your light is the world, Chico. Everything in it.
And everything in it. Balls in my word. Yep. The box in my word. So how about that Freddy stuff? Did you pick up on that with the girl giggling at the table, and then the other kid with the tricycle? I'm like, what is this? Why are they going into Freddy realm all of a sudden? You know, it was weird, but whatever.
It was weird. I again, maybe because they're dancing around. There's more nightmare aspects to the last three movies in the Hellraiser series than before. Like, really, the last three are a nightmarish world. Everyone's a little bit different, and you're following through, which kind of goes into that hell domain. But again, not to be repetitive, but I guess I will be. This one just seemed to link it a bit better. Probably from the setup, probably the way to her, maybe because it took a female protagonist instead of a male one, and we're following her around, but just everything was just more intriguing.
Yeah.
Her journey, what she was going, the setup, everything for me was just better in this.
Well, I'm with you. Okay, so where are you at?
I was going to say 6, which was just mildly better. Although I'll actually say 6.5.
Nice. I had it at 6.5, but didn't I give the last one to 6.5?
Yeah, I think you were 1 point above me both times. I think.
Oh man, I gave the last one a 7. I got to give this a 7 as well.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it. There's no way that I'm gonna.
That's all there is to it. But no, again, I will tell people if you're hesitant about watching these films, and if the last two didn't win you over, maybe just check this one out. I don't know what to expect. I don't remember good things from Hell World, but I don't remember this one standing out way back when I watched it as well. So I'm having a good time going back as an excuse to check these out. And like I said, I'm going in blind now for the next two Frankenstein movies. I could, unless something I see like jars my memory or makes me remember that I saw it way back when. But I'm almost positive I haven't seen the next two Frankensteins. I have seen Hell World, and I can't remember which one's it. Revelations comes after that one. I've seen them. I think I saw Hell World, but I think I gave up on Revelations, if that's the found footage one. So I'll have to see.
Well, let's see here. What number are we on here? We did 4. 4 was Bloodlines. 5 was Inferno. 6 was
Hellseeker,
Hellseeker,
and this is Deader.
and this one is 7 Deader. So that leaves us what? How many more? 3 more? Yeah.
Hell World,
Yep.
Revelations, Judgment,
Yep.
and
no. Oh, and the remake.
and the remake. But if we will be, wait, are we going to be?
Now there's a reason we chose Frankenstein and this,
Yeah,
because it was the same amount. So
yeah. But what do we have left? We have House. We only have 3 Frankensteins left. No.
no, there's a reason. There was 8 Frankensteins and there was 8 Hellraisers left. Don't tell me we screwed this up.
Well,
That can't be
the good
possible.
thing about it is if there is another Frankenstein, we could do Young Frankenstein for the last one. So
Oh, that's true. Either way, we win. But I'm pretty sure that I looked at it and I go, there was 8 here and there's 8 here. It became 8 because of the new Hellraiser. That's why it became Frankenstein. There's 8 Frankensteins and 8 Hellraisers.
but totally
So-
like, yeah, check it out, everybody.
Either way, yeah.
I mean, if you have to spend a lot of money, don't.
Oh yeah, where
But-
can you see it? You're right. I have the DVD actually, because I own the other ones on Blue, and I couldn't find this in Blue at the time. But let me see, where the hell is this streaming? I mean, I watched it on MBM, sure, but because I didn't have the disc, I had the DVD. I'm like, well, why not watch it in HD? So let me see if it is playing anywhere for the listeners here. Let's see. I go to the Just Watch app. If you don't have that, you get on it.
Yeah,
Deader, right?
to
Deader?
be honest, even IMDb was getting good.
Oh, it's on Max. There you go. It's on Max, or HBO Max, as some people call it, but it's Max now, and it's on DirecTV, but it's free on Max. So if you got HBO Max or Max, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
it's there. I didn't even realize it yesterday. How do you like that? Because I couldn't watch with what do you call it? My subtitles weren't lining up, so I couldn't watch it. I wish I would have known it was on Max. Damn it. Either way, good. Kari should be in high definition on streaming channels. No?
There you
Give
go.
Kari your time, please. Okay. And your money. All right, so shit, I guess that's that, huh?
Yeah, next week we'll be doing that House of Frankenstein. Is that what it's called?
I don't know. buddy.
House of
I
Frankenstein.
don't have it in front of me.
Whatever. The next
Shit.
Frankenstein
Let's see
movie,
here.
and then Hellraiser Hell World.
Let's
That's
see.
what we're doing.
Frankenstein, Universal. Let's see. Universal movies, and then we'll see. Let's see what we're missing out on. Okay. Universal Horror, Frankenstein, Universal Film Series. So, okay. Frankenstein, Bride, Son, Ghost. Next is Wolfman.
Oh,
Then
that's the one
House.
we were missing. Wolfman, we were missing.
Frankenstein
Yes.
meets the Wolfman.
I've
then
seen
House
that one.
of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Then House of Dracula. Then Abbott and Costello meet.
Yes.
So there are 4 more.
Yeah,
So
that
see,
was. Yeah, I did. I was like, "What? We're free." So I have seen Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
I
but
don't know if I have. Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
I remember really liking that one. In fact, I remember that being my favorite because of the mashup back in the day.
Hour
so-
and 14 minutes.
Yeah.
And Lon Chaney Jr. is in it.
Yep.
Hey, I wonder if
Does he
Lon
play
Chaney
both?
Jr. Well, because he's junior. His father was senior.
Yeah,
So
but
was
his
his
father did. Oh, wait a second. So that was Lon Chaney. I just assumed that was Lon Chaney as Frankenstein, as in Lon Chaney Jr. was
No,
Frankenstein.
senior,
Yeah.
who
So
was also messed up, and Junior's also messed up with alcohol. And check this out. Monster is played by Bela Lugosi. How the hell can Bella be the monster now? We know it's the voice.
they really kept him. They really kept him in the series. That's crazy.
How can this be? He's going to be a small? Bela Lugosi's not big. How can this be? Well,
Well,
I
we'll
guess we'll
find
find
out.
out together. Yeah, we're going to stay tuned, everybody. Okay. Shit.
Awesome.
Okay, well, let's get
Well,
out of here.
No one bites the dust.
Yep, everybody enjoy their summer, their sausage, and everything else. So stay
Next one's
safe.
gonna be
We love you.
spicy.
Yeah. Spicy, yeah, for sure. And that's it. That's all I got. You got anything?
Nope. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next show.
Much love, peace. Machichi, machichi.